but yeah, I think he's doing he's doing a premiere right now at the same time. So I guess he'll be busy with his own chat. But he might be here later. I don't know how long his premiere is.
Yeah, it'll be good. I mean, Brian is, very well versed in the Mandela effect. Of course, he specializes in that, and a lot of us had learned a lot about the Mandela effects through him and many others. But I've been involved with it for a little while. Are you Mandela affected, Patrick? Or do you consider
Yeah,
yourself Mandela affected?
I have like two, um, like well, I mean, maybe even three uh, residue that I was going to bring up tonight to put a little bit of pimento in the. All right, let's see what you got to say, Moose. All right, hold on before I let you up, Moose. Anybody coming up here is not going to talk about the Mandela effect. Is not going to stay. All right, I'm warning everybody in advance. This is the topic today. So any agents of chaos want
Sweet.
to talk about anything else but the Mandela effect is going to be backstaged or not going to be welcome today. All right. So I'm just going to let Moose up, see
I
what he
love
has to
talking about
say.
the
But
I
Moose, if
love
it does
talking about
not
the Mandela
pertain to the
effect.
topic, you're gone.
All right.
Hello, Moose.
Before you kick me off, I want to say that I didn't realize that you had a topic today, but I wanted to commend you for the way you've been a stand-up character in this metaverse. I know this is about Mandela effect. Before you kick me, understand that you of all the people out here have been tested multiple times. You passed every test. I think that you are a very good dude. I want to see your stream shine, and I'll come back when there's not a topic. So I appreciate you, bro.
Perfect, Moose. Thank you for coming up here and saying that. I appreciate you. Thank you for respecting, the stream because today is really we haven't been talking about this topic in a while, and it just popped in my mind today. It's like Monday Mandela. Just I don't know. Let's go Mandela effect today. So how about we start out with like shouting out the chat, and then I'll be right in with some a couple of questions that I might have for you there, Nachiketa. We'll start this thing off
Go for it.
with a bang. So, all right, let's go with the chat. We have BBNB's in the house, man. Much love, brother. You tell me. RT is in the house. Christos de Leopolis, Nachiketa, bien évidemment. And we also have Mr. OTW News. Oh, that's me. Okay, Mark Basket. Then we have Moose. Moose is in the house, probably gone. I don't know if he stayed in chat. Anyway, we got Gematria Wombats in the house. We got The Truden Show, brought to you by Dan Beck. Man, I haven't seen you in a long time, dude, man. I think maybe you've been around. I don't know. I have this feeling I haven't seen you in a while. Anyway, Chuck in Tennessee's in the house. We also have, let me scroll down. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everybody. Shout out to everybody who's watching right now. Make sure to hit that like button, share this out to all the Mandela affected people. All right, so let's go on with the show. Nachiketa, what happened to you? When was the first Mandela? What like even if you want to be long winded, go ahead, man. Tell your story. Take it from the top. I want to hear this.
Yeah.
I'm even hold on. I'm gonna
So
even go put my headphones on. Hold on a sec. All right, go ahead.
okay, all right. So back in like 2018, I was just like motorcycling around for about 8 9 months, and then I didn't have any internet connection, mostly, and then I found this hut. I was settling in, and then I was checking the internet, and then one of the YouTube suggestions was about Mandela effect, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" So I clicked on it, and it was like one of those like Mojo. It's like got huge number of views, like millions some views, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of weird," And initially, I was like, "Nah, this is like just a bunch of bullshit," And I thought it was like uh, artificial intelligence stuff, or somebody's just kind of playing tricks on people, some kind of hoax. So I started investigating, and then I was like, looking for other content. I found this guy called SMQAI, so I was following him around, and then there's another person. This guy is a harbinger of harvest, and he made a video, something like 99.9% that Mandela effect is real. And then he talked about how the lion and the lamb had changed, and wine skins had turned into wine bottles. And I have this Geneva Bible that I've had since I was in Korea. I carried it around. I brought it to Nepal. I brought it to India, to here, and I actually checked it in the Bible, the physical Bible that which I've had since, like, I don't know, like fucking 2012 or something like this, like before 2012, for a long time. It's a Geneva 1599 Bible, and sure enough, it doesn't say lion and the lamb anymore. It says wolf will dwell with the lamb, and then it said the wine skins had turned into wine bottles. And I remember about these passages because the wine skins made more sense to me, in terms of the parable. It was like wine skins, like old wine should be put in old wine skins, new wine should be put in new wine skins. So there was like a little bit of like
Yeah. Well, because of
like a
like
parable.
yeah, but there was a reason behind that concept was because if you put new wine in the old skin, the skin would expand and
It would burst.
it would burst, exactly. So there was a reason for that.
Yeah, exactly. So there was, and then plus, it's analogous to like kind of like old people who are like used to the old ways should, keep that way, and the new people, who are introduced with new ways will be given, new ways. Like, so it's
Yeah, it's like
new
don't
wineskins.
show an old dog new tricks. It's kind of like that.
Yeah,
Or
kind of
don't
like
try to
that.
show an old monkey how to do faces, right?
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like with wine bottles, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what's the difference between old wine bottles and new wine bottles? There's no difference at all. So those things, and then like Lion and the Lamb, there's like Brian Stavely has made a video specifically talking about Lion and the Lamb and all kinds of residues that's
Yeah.
out there with a lion and lamb. So it piqued my interest, and I just got completely wrapped up with the Mandela effect for like several years. And I got to talk with Brian Stavely, and he did a awakening interview with me, and then I spoke with other people. I try to get to know everybody within the Mandela effect community. There's another person by the name Vanessa VA. She does Mandela effect videos though too, and I've spoken to what's her name? Maybe Mandela, and there's another guy named Brian. Brian, shoot, I've forgotten his name, but then there's a group of them, and then there's Scare Performance. I'm friends with Jerry. His YouTube channel is called Dark Wolf's Den, and he is the president of the International Mandela Effect Conference. He's my friend, and I've spoken to Moneybag 73 personally many times. So just about everybody that is anybody, quote unquote, in the Mandela
Yeah.
Effect community, I have communicated with.
Well, that's cool. So have I. I've got I've talked a few times with Brian. Had him on the
Yep.
show here a couple of times. Yeah, it would be nice if he showed up. Yeah, well, that's pretty awesome. So that was a pretty quick rundown. What was the most intense Mandela for you? Like, what was the one that was like the one that like hit home? You know what I'm saying?
Those, like the Bible changes, were the ones that really brought me over the edge for me. Like
All right.
Ed McMahon is pretty big. I mean, that's like, so here's the thing: there are like huge impact Mandela effects that like a lot of people resonate with, and they're medium of ones, and then there's like light ones where like for example, like I'm a Tori Amos fan. I grew up in the '90s. I like Tori Amos, and so I followed her work a little bit, and like her previous band. Right? You remember the name of her previous band?
What's the name of the girl?
Tori Amos. Do you know who Tori Amos is?
I've heard of her, but I'm not sure the name.
Okay, anyways, like, see, that's the thing. Like, not a lot of people know about her, right? So not a lot of people know about who she is and what kind of work that she was doing. And then, like, her album before was Why Can't Tori Spell? That was the name of her band. Like, the letter Y, Kant, Tori, Tori. And then, like, the name of the band for me was Why Can't Tori Spell? Because, like, obviously all these spelling mistakes were. Now it has changed for me to Why Can't Tori Read? And I have
Holy
one other
shit,
person.
That's a big change, man. From spell to read. Holy shit.
It is a huge change. Yeah, it is a big change.
That's a big
but
one.
That's the thing. It is. But the thing is that if you don't know what that band is, or you don't know what who these people are, right, then it's not going to resonate with you because you never really paid attention. So that's how like this kind of Mandela effect seems to be working for me, like the way I perceive it. And another thing is, this is something that some of us term as either uploads or downloads. Basically, you have the current memory as your memory. So whatever memory, whatever the situation that is going on now. For example, like another famous one is like, Forrest Gump says what? Like, life was box of chocolates. No, he said life is like a box of chocolates. Now he
I
says
have
life
residue.
was.
Yeah, I know, but I
Right?
have residue. I have residue of that. You know why? And I'll explain to you why. I'm bilingual. All right. So the residue is actually in French, because in
Hmm.
French, life is like a box of chocolate. When you watch it, the
Chocolates.
French, yeah, when you watch the French version, it says "La vie c'est comme une boîte de chocolat." Okay, it's
Hmm.
right away. You have to break down the words. Okay, so in French, if you relate that directly to English and you try to break down, it was the same title. Not not the same title, but it was
Same phrase.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly the same phrase translated word for word. So there was no difference. So now if you go and you play the video in French, it'll say it like the original version. All right, because it was overdubbed.
Hmm.
All right, and in English it does change. You hear them say was instead of is. But now when I do that residue link, all right, and I'll bring it up later. I'll show you guys with the Google and
Okay.
translate and everything. You'll see and I do that with an interview with a vampire as well. Okay.
Yes, that's another
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Like
The residue is in French because in French it's still entrevue avec un vampire. Okay. Which is the correct translation. You understand? It's
right,
interview with a vampire, not the
right.
vampire. Because in French, if it would be the vampire, it would be entrevue avec
Le.
le vampire, not un vampire.
Right.
You understand? There would be a difference.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
two
yeah.
words would change, and it would
Absolutely.
imply, and it would also imply that there's only one vampire.
Right.
In other words, but there's more than one. Obviously, in the movie, there's more than one. So
Well, yeah. I mean, the vampire and all vampire, like all vampire means like any vampire, like interview with just like Joe Schmo vampire, whatever.
yeah,
But interview with the vampire means that and I know and maybe somebody else knows what that the vampire means, right? So I mean, it's like the connotation is different.
yeah. It could also mean that like it's like the only one, the vampire. It's like
The last vampire could be, yeah.
or the only one, like the only one that exists, like the vampire. It's like the king of England. There's only one king. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right.
when you put a "the" in front, it's like it's the only thing
Yeah,
that.
it's like the proper noun.
Yeah. So that's why.
So
Anyway, well, go ahead.
no, I mean, like, this is a fascinating topic. So like anybody who starts to like really get into it, first I would say to them like, okay, you're gonna find something that you're gonna probably resonate with. Just an open mind. And I'm not trying to convince you because it's like a big deal. It's a very big deal if you believe that the quote unquote reality is actually physically changing. And then from that moment on, after the change, all of history was that. There was no your memory of it never existed. It never existed. It didn't. The logos didn't change. They didn't have like some kind of a meeting, and then people decided, okay, let's put the curly tail on the F on Ford, and that's going to sell more products for us. No, none happened. It was from the very beginning. There was a curly tail on Ford, and then it still is curly tail on Ford. But some of us don't remember that shit. So remember that. Remember, when change occurs, it will reflect it throughout history. Period.
Yeah, but that's because I think that we're shifting through parallel universes or a multiverse or something.
Okay, let's get. You want to get
Okay.
into theories?
Well, yes,
Already?
because this is the whole thing here. Because, dude, all right. This is one of the reasons why I did this stream today. Okay, for the past couple of days, I've been feeling shifts. Okay, and I've been noticing them. That's why I'm saying I've been feeling them. Is because it's in these moments where you're just like, wait a minute, Okay, something's not the same right now. And that happened to me twice. And now I'm starting to recognize which shift we're in or something. Is that crazy or something? It's like I'm about to number the Earth. You know, I'm just like, okay, this is Earth 1, and okay, when I'm gonna pop into that place, wherever it's gonna be Earth 2 or 3, I'm gonna freaking number them because if they come back, it's like
It's like a
there's more
Rick and
than
Morty
one.
episode, like you're just like hopping in from one dimension to another and parallel dimensions kind of deal, and there's like almost like each other kind of deal.
Um, it's like Sliders. Have you ever seen this TV show called Sliders?
No.
Okay, these guys had technology. They'd slide from one dimension to the other, but it's always like the same, but a different reality. It's like something different happening each time they slide, right? So it's a bit like that, but it's like, but the changes are so subtle. Like I'll tell you, I'll tell you one. I'm nuts, all right? But
Why?
yesterday,
I'm already
hold on.
I'm already
I know,
Mandela.
but it's not even a Mandela. It's like, it's just a personal experience. And everybody
Okay.
say, well, yeah, okay, I'm going to say it's a toothache. All right. But everybody's going to say, well, yeah, but everybody has toothaches. And I'm going to say, no, not like this. This is a different type of toothache. So it's like as if this toothache was, it was, the pain was there for a long time. It felt like that was, my other self did not take care of that tooth, and it had been hurting for longer than just that single day, which was yesterday. All right, so this is what's the crazy part. I wake up this morning and it's gone. So I realize, okay, I'm not in the same place anymore. But this is what convince me that I'm not in the same shit, that it's shifted. Is my truck when I go put gas in it. There's sometimes when they put gas in it, the gas doesn't go in it. It just like it pops. The thing just the trigger pops, right? So it doesn't let the gas go in.
Okay.
Right. But yesterday when I gassed the truck, I could pull the trigger all the way, and the gas would go in on no problem. But that's not normal. You understand?
Yeah.
For my
I got
truck,
you. Yeah.
it's every time I go gas, usually it's just the thing just pops because there's a problem in the tank. I know about it. You understand? It's been like 3 years it's that way. But when it works,
But then,
that's when I find that really weird. That I feel like in that reality that that problem, the truck doesn't have that problem.
yeah. So, I mean, I believe you. And everything that we're talking about is about personal experiences, and memories plays a very big role. Okay, so we got to remember that. We got to remember the fact that memory plays like the biggest role in the Mandela effect. And then the second thing that kind of supports the Mandela effect is the quote unquote the residues, right? And so people who don't believe in the Mandela effect, for example, they will say, well, like Lion and the Lamb, and people are taking like, liberties on their artistic imagination of things, and it could be, or maybe, and that's all very plausible, because like people can say like, yeah, it's just artist renditions, like why they decided to put Lion and the Lamb rather than like Wolf and the Lamb or whatever. Okay. One of the most convincing things about Mandela effect or is the fact that not only you, not only myself, thousands upon thousands of people all seem to have the exact same mismemory. And I put the mismemory in quotes. Now, if it was genuine mismemory, like for example, like, you're walking down the street and you saw a car and people asked you, hey, what color was that car? If 10 people saw that, right, they might say it's red, blue, or I don't know, purple. Who knows? Everybody will have something different, right? But vast majority of people seem to remember the exact same thing that has changed. It was never, it never was. But they all seem to remember the exact same change. Now, the probability of that is astronomical. You understand what I'm saying here?
Oh yeah, of course. And here's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen for a moment and show you what I was explaining to you before
Go
with
for
the
it.
interview with the vampire. So check this out. Here's the Google image. It's not sharing. Well, it's probably being slow. Yeah, there we go. All right. So there you got it. So you have here interview with a vampire. Well, in what this is the way I remember it, right? But here it's written interview with the vampire. So if I change my thing and I go over to Google Translate, right? Am I there? Okay, no, I got to share the Google Translate. So I'm in Google Translate right now, right? Okay, there we go.
Yes.
So let's go type here. I have English and French, right? So let's type interview with the vampire and see what it says in French, all right?
Go for it.
So there it says entretien avec le vampire. All right. So that's what it says here. Okay. But now let's go to back to this here, and we'll write it in French up here. Okay. So we'll take entretien avec un vampire. All right. So here's the movie with the title in French. In fact, no, that's in English. Sorry. Where is it? Hold on a second. Let me find entretien.
Right there. That one. You just click on
Which
it.
one?
That's entretien. Yeah, it's on the right.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, entretien avec un vampire. Okay, that's what it's written on the. I can't. Sorry, guys, I can't zoom in. All right, this is the best I can do. All right, so we got here entretien avec un vampire. So if I go back to Google Translate, interview with the vampire translate to entretien avec le vampire. So do you see like the le and the un are not together? So let's just change the to the a and see what that does. So put. Whoops, that's the wrong. There we go. A vampire. Oh, look at that. It changed to entretien avec un vampire. Okay, so if we go, am I sharing the right window? Whoops. Oh, shit. No,
No.
I'm not. Okay, hold on. Let's go share that. Okay, sorry about that. So here you go. See, interview with a vampire translates to entretien avec un vampire. All right. So let's go to the Google where I was. And here it says entretien avec un vampire. So in my opinion, that's residue.
Yep, it is. Residue is residue. It just is, a supporting evidence for that, change, you can say, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can go ahead, dude. There's another one. I have a personal Mandela effect that happened to me years ago. Okay, it was like when I first discovered the Mandela effect. I had broken. My daughter had broken my Tim Hortons cup. All right, and that was a gift. It was a gift that was given to me from one of my friends. For it was the only thing he ever gave me, actually. So I had kept it. I was like, it was to me, it was precious, you know. And my daughter broke it one day. So I, and the next day, the cup showed up. I don't remember where it showed up, but it showed up, and I was like, "But that's impossible. It was broken." It was literally broken. I threw it away, and it showed
It's one
up.
of a kind thing. Yeah, it's just one of a kind, or what?
Yeah, it just showed up again. It was like as if it was never broken, and it just showed up. It was like there. I was like, "But that's impossible." So that was like a personal Mandela.
Yeah, people have experienced this kind of stuff, and they used to call it something different. They used to call it like glitches in the matrix, things like that. Some kind of like I don't know, like really weird phenomenons and stuff like this. It's just that we've now bunched them up all together as like quote unquote the Mandela effect. You know where the Mandela effect comes from?
The phenomena is even more Yeah, the Mandela effect is like a fucking way to make this a psyop. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to turn this into a
Right.
psyop, so no one will believe it. But I believe that the establishment knows that this is absolutely real. Well, there's
Well,
something
for
going
sure
on.
they do.
Why didn't the movie change? Why didn't the title change on the cover there in French? Why isn't it Entretien avec le vampire? Can somebody explain
Right.
that to me?
No,
You
nobody really
understand?
can.
Of
No,
course they
nobody really
can't.
can. But the thing is, this like there's a lady by the name of Fiona Bloom, right? And she was like
Yeah,
kind of like a occultist, and then she wrote an article, and I think she's the one who's running the alternatememories.com, something like that. But
but I
anyways,
believe that she was put there by the
yeah,
established. She's an agent there.
she could very
That
well be because
I
she she
know.
she
We did a
brought it up.
gematria. We did a whole freaking thing on Fiona. When I did another Mandela show, and we did a whole breakdown on Fiona and everything, man. And we had to establish that she was put there by the establishment to because she was the one who coined the Mandela effect, right? So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So but it was the Mandela effect was discovered long before that. It was just not called that. She just coined it that, but it's like a
Correct.
really stupid term.
Well, I mean, it's based on Nelson Mandela, and a lot of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in jail, and then again he died like back in early 2010, 13 or something like this, and then
Yeah, which was
uh,
completely insane because I remember him dying when I was in barely grade school, I think in the 90s or something like that, or it was like for sure before 2000 because when I was a kid, man, I was young.
yeah, I mean there are textbooks. I have somebody whom I was speaking to. I don't remember exactly on what channel, and he was talking about how he remembers his school canceling because of the Nelson Mandela having died and stuff like this. So when we are talking about memories, it's true. Like people can, it is possible. So we have to be very honest about this. It is very possible for people to insert memories if they're not sure about it. That is a possibility, and a
But
lot of people can do it.
what about the anchor memories though? The ones that are
Exactly.
undeniable.
Yeah, that's what the anchor memories are. So you can kind of tell whether people are bullshitting you or not by the kind of anchor memories they have. It's very detailed orientated, and it's like these are the reasons why I have this memory because of this person. Like I have a friend, for example. She was an assistant for a dentist, and this dentist was looking exactly like Gene Wilder. And they both were working, and they heard on the news that Gene Wilder had died. The guy who did Willy Wonka, right? So, by the way, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory has changed the name. The title has changed from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Isn't that crazy? Do you
Wow,
remember Charlie
that's
and the Chocolate? Do you
yeah.
remember Charlie and the Chocolate
In
Factory?
French, yeah, of course, it's French. C'est Charlie la chocolaterie. I know the title, of course,
Okay, but now it's no longer that. It's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
but that's nuts.
It is. That's the
That's
crazy
nuts.
part. That's crazy part about all this Mandela effect stuff is that it's all fucking crazy. It's crazy as shit. It makes you crazy too. It's like looking at it and be like, no, no, no. That's right.
But,
And so
but that's
she
how I
was
had
talking
my
about,
spiritual awakening, man. That's exactly how it happened, man. Well, I call it a spiritual awakening, but I don't know what it was. But I had like something happen to me, man, like that night
yeah,
because the two Mandela effects that really freaking it triggered it and it made my brain go like freaking cuckoo um was the We Are the Champions from Queen.
yeah,
Okay.
Queen, yeah,
And then that stemmed off to Luke, I Am Your Father, which is now No, I Am Your Father, which
correct.
that was the trigger that my had a mental breakdown, in my opinion. All right. I
Yeah,
literally thought I was losing my mind and everything was spinning. And I was like, I dropped down to my knees and I start praying to God and I start crying, man. I'm like, I'm
wow.
literally, no, I'm losing it. I'm losing it for real. I'm literally
Yeah,
fucking going crazy. And then at the time, the girlfriend that I was with, she puts her hand on my shoulder, goes, God loves you. It's like, don't worry, nothing's gonna happen to you. It's like that calmed me down actually, but it still didn't change the fact that I could see things differently from that point on, and I could also hear things differently from that point on. So now I started like, dude, I started hearing things on the radio and shit, man. It was just crazy. It's like breaking free from the Matrix. It's like I felt just like Neo when he discovered that he was in the Matrix. It's like I went that freaking bonkers. Remember when he like literally fainted and threw up when he came out there? It was like, yeah. It's exactly how I felt, man. I was like going completely mad. And
amazing and beautiful.
And it brought me down the Mandela effect rabbit hole, obviously, because then I started researching it and going through all kinds of. I was going through two different types of people, because I wasn't searching for 100,000 sub people that we're talking about. I was looking for the people that had like 200 subs or 50 subs or whatever, and they were just like, they had that experience. They had either a spiritual awakening or a kundalini or rise, whatever. I wanted to know what happened. I'm that kind of guy, man. When something like that, which is to me supernatural, happens, you want to know how that going on. You know what I mean? So I started researching it. I went into all kinds of different things, man. You wouldn't believe, man. I went down every single rabbit hole I think that exists. All right. Anyway, welcome RT to the stream. Are you here to talk to us? Are you here to talk to us about the Mandela effect?
Absolutely.
All right.
Sweet.
That's awesome, sir.
Hello, sirs.
So, what are your
What's up?
experiences? Oh, go ahead, Nachikita, if you wanted to say something first.
No. Hey, RT, good to see you again, and great. I'm really happy that you're putting this as like a kind of it's good to put some borders around a topic sometimes and not allow things to go all over the place. And then I like the fact that we can talk about the Mandela effect. It's a topic that I've been passionate about still I am very passionate about. I mean, it's like 6 a.m. over here, and I haven't slept at all. And then
wow.
I was ready to go to sleep, and I saw you that you're going to go live, and I was like, oh shit, he's going to be talking about the Mandela effect. And another friend of mine is actually doing a talk about the a talk about the Mandela effect, and I was just like, oh my god, like I got to stay up for this. All right, go ahead, RT.
No, I was just I mean, obviously Brian Staley is the king of this topic, right? I mean, we can all agree on that. I mean, at least I think so.
I guess. I could say that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Brian has definitely influenced me a lot. I mean, he, like 100%, and he's 100% on. Like we talked a lot about like different theories. I don't like this kind of how do I say, like putting people up on a pedestal, but he's definitely a big figure within the Mandela effect community.
Oh yeah.
Nobody, no doubt
that.
about it.
He would never want anyone to put him on a pedestal.
Yeah.
I agree. So Patrick, here's my take on this Mandela effect. It's obviously real. People who poo-poo it, like they're not, I don't know, they're not being honest, especially, like so-called flat earthers that don't like see this stuff. However, I will say, and I've shared this with Brian, there are so many Mandela effects. It's almost like there's a ploy to, make people look crazy about this whole thing. It's like, so for example, there was a dude, and he was incredibly well-spoken dude, and he was on these channels and promoting stuff, and like, so he promoted these Mandela effects that were like clearly insane. Almost like, are you just like organized chaos, or like intentionally making people view this as like insanity, or what the hell is going on? For example, claiming that Costa Rica was some sort of island and not a country in Central America, that everyone in 5th grade geography learned Costa Rica is part of Central America. So, I mean, and the people that are the 52 staters, like for the U.S., like, what are you even thinking? That's never been a thing.
When I was
never been a thing.
Listen, RT, when I was a kid and Canadian, and I learned in my school that there were 52 states.
That is bizarre. That is bizarre, dude.
It is bizarre because I distinctly remember that I learned that we had 10 provinces and 2 territories in Canada. I mean, I remember all that. It's just common knowledge, in my opinion.
I respect that. I respect that totally, Patrick. I get.
But I can admit, though, I can say something is that I can say that maybe the information was false. I mean, it's like it doesn't mean that the Canadian educational establishment were accurate in what they knew about the American states and all that stuff. It could have been a simple error in I've seen a lot of things that that haven't been accurate, and it has changed today. So it's a possibility.
I get it.
So when you talk about the Mandela effect, right? Because like nobody has a perfect memory. Like a lot of people do have what is called the download, right? So the download is that you have the same memory as the current reality. When a lot of other people have the Mandela effect of memory. And like, for example, I can name a few that is a downloaded memory that is very strong for me, and it blew my mind that other people had any other memory than the one that I had. For example, like I remember the Tiananmen Square where the guy who was standing, you guys remember the tank guy, right? The tank guy?
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So I also remember the tank guy, and I remember the guy, standing, and it's the almost exact same memory. Actually, it has changed since then when I look back at it, but I'm going to explain the original one, which is I remember the guy standing in front of the tank, and he had like a briefcase or whatever, and he was trying to get in the way of the tank, and the tanks were like, oh, I don't really want to run this guy over, so they're trying to scoot around him a little bit, right? Now, when I talked about this memory to some of my other friends who are also Mandela effect, they remember something. They remember the tank running the dude over. I've never had that memory.
Yeah, now, I don't have that memory either. I agree with you. Yeah.
So the thing is, my memory now is the current memory, like the current, like a history of what's going on. Except for the fact that he doesn't have like a briefcase anymore. He's got like some kind of a plastic bag.
Yeah.
So that's changed. But then I was flabbergasted to know that there were actually not only one, but several other people who also remember the dude being run over by the tank, right? So how do you come to terms with that discrepancy of those memories? So here's the thing. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna tack on with what you're saying is like, who of us, like, inadvertently received the download and it's like and updated, and others didn't on certain ones, right? That's what you're saying.
It could be random.
Yeah, it could be random. Could be totally random. Yeah.
So
I mean,
so here's the
I'm
thing.
with you on that.
Okay, good. So I've thought about this a lot, guys. I really have. And like, I'm not going to put myself out there on the level of like Brian Staveley, but like we have spoken a lot, and I know for sure Brian respects me, and
Brian's the dude, man. He's the dude.
He is. He has spent the countless hours, but like I'm behind the scenes guy. I've spent a lot of time, and and the thing is, I get around a lot with a lot of different people. And look, I'm not trying to shine my credentials or not about that. It's just about having a conversation. The thing is, I tell you, you can take we're all Mandela affected, and there are hundreds and thousands of people who are Mandela affected, and there are thousands. I tell you, there are thousands of Mandela effect changes that we know of. Okay, you take any two individuals, you ask them 100 questions, same exact questions, there will be no two individuals who will have they'll be like maybe 90% correct with each other. They might be even 95%, but I will bet you money that no two individual will be 100% overlapping each other in terms of their memory.
Yeah.
Now, that is a speculation. I'm not saying that is 100% true, but what I'm getting at is that everybody has gotten a download of some kind. Everybody does. It's just going to be different for different people. You understand what I mean here?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So
I mean, you can even just be thinking about things like, and something will pop in your head to add to something. I don't know.
it happens.
It happens. It's almost like you're reaching into the Ethernet and like, oh, here's this funny thing that I can put in a chat. I mean, I don't know, but
right.
But hey, here's the weird thing. Like, my biggest Mandela effect is the missing braces on Dolly from
that's a big one. That's
the
a lot of people
Moonraker
resonate with that.
1979. And Brian was not old enough to even see that film. He doesn't. I think that's one of the ones he's like, look, I don't know that. I have no connection to that. But like for me, that's one of my top 3. So
well,
it's
I mean,
really
Brian
bizarre.
has admitted that like Luke, I'm your father is not something that he resonates with either.
Exactly. Yeah. Which for me adds credibility to Brian 100%.
For sure. I mean, he has like I tell you, like everybody has gotten a download. Everybody, including Brian, of some kind, and we just have to admit the fact because, like, that was the original memory for them, right? So Dolly not having the braces is a big one for a lot of people, but that doesn't mean that's the case for everybody. I mean, I was born in 1978. There's no possible way I could have seen that movie, when it first came out. I only saw it like in the 90s after I came to the United States, and then I watched that movie. I still remember the braces then,
Yeah, but look, dude, I'm a little bit older than you, so like I actually saw that film in the theater, real time, and was wearing teeth braces. So I was 100, in high school. So I was 100% in tune with anyone that wore braces because I was wearing them myself. And like, there's no freaking way that she didn't have braces on. I mean,
there you go. That's it.
Yeah.
Even I was a James Bond fan. Come on, guys. Even I.
Yeah. And that film is one of the worst James Bond films ever.
Yeah, it is. Horrible acting.
One of the horrible. But with Jaws and all that stuff. Yeah.
But here's the thing, like just the way I was talking about the wine bottles and wine skins, it has to make sense. Now, when you look back at that movie and you look at that scene, Jaws and Dolly had nothing in common with each other. Jaws a big ugly dude. Dolly herself, like she's like hotter now than before. She was like nerdier, but now she's like super hot. She's like a model, man. She's looking like a model. Now, the only thing that they had in common was the fact that they both had
teeth,
metal teeth.
Metal teeth.
That's what made it funny.
That's the whole joke. That's the whole thing. So, like, anybody that doesn't get that, like, come on,
like in a scary movie, like there, like in Scary Movie 3. There's black guy in the bed and he's all scared and he's like surrounded by white people and he whispers originally, I see white people, right?
Of course he does. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny because
he looks paranoid too in that scene. It's like he's
he's scared. I see white people, and it works.
That's
and then
it's a parody thing. Yeah.
It's a parody of The Sixth Sense. But guess what? That movie line changed to I see dead people now.
Which is totally retarded.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
man.
Scary Movie 3, the black guy in bed being scared of quote unquote white people now says, I see dead people. Now it's not that funny anymore. Somebody else already said it.
Yeah,
No.
that's a done.
So
That's not a parody of a line. That's just like repeating a line.
yeah,
It doesn't
exactly.
work. It doesn't work.
So
Well,
this is the kind of the way to like have a perspective on the Mandela effect. It's like, does it make sense anymore, or does it not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Sometimes it's just grammatically, does it make sense in the grammar? Just like the dark side of the moon. Why would there be
Right.
two thes in that phrase? It's dark side of the
No.
moon. All right.
It's dark side of the moon. It's dark side of the
Of the
moon. That's
moon.
it.
Yeah. There's
Not
only
the
one
dark
the.
side of the moon.
Exactly. But that's insane to me. You understand now that there's two thes in that title. It's like what?
It's awkward. It's awkward to even say.
But
Yeah,
that's
awkward.
what I'm saying.
It's a good way to describe it. It's awkward.
Yeah.
Like it's not the way. It's not natural. It's not the way we all, perceived it, remembered it. The whole bit. But here,
you guys. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
RT. I was just going to say, do you guys recall the thinker statue? Right.
Yes.
This is residue. Okay. Well, look at this picture. I pulled this up. I actually, Brian Stavely, I gave it to him and everything. So I don't know if he's done a bit on it, but I've brought this up before. But look at these kids. You got two kids here who are imitating the statue with their hands to their forehead. Right. You see that? Okay. But look at the other kid at the far corner in the right. He's putting the hand under his chin. So what I'm thinking is both of them perceive something different. Like they're
right
in the reality of that photo. They're all together in the same reality, but each kid, like this kid in the corner at top right, is not in the same reality as these two because he sees
excellent point.
He sees the statue differently than these others.
But Patrick, there's third perspective, which is the perspective that we're seeing through the camera lens of being able to see from that child who is having the one on the forehead and the other child who has the hand on his chin. That's another perspective of the matter.
Yeah, and I will add that I've actually seen that statue, in person, in Paris, and I do remember, it being on the chin, not the forehead. But
I remember the forehead.
So
yeah, well, I remember the forehead, but yeah, go ahead.
It could be a total. I'm just saying, it could just be a total like, what is going on with this reality? People can perceive, one thing, and other people can perceive another thing. I mean, we all realize that, you can have two people witness a crime, and they could have completely different descriptions of, the culp. But I'm just saying it's almost more supernatural, our reality, than maybe we totally give it credit.
I mean, if you're Mandela affected, it's not. It is supernatural. I mean, there's supernatural shit going on, for sure, without a doubt.
Without a doubt, dude. Yeah, for sure.
So like, I want to talk about the statue a little bit longer. Because like it's Rodin, I think, who was the sculptor. But like, there are numerous photos. I remember doing research about this, and I remember all these people who were standing or sitting next to the statue with their fist to their forehead, and the statue is completely different. It's like, what's going on with all these people? Just like that child with the fist to forehead. What's going on that they have a completely different, posture than the actual statue, right?
Right. Yeah. What's going on with that? Like, what are people perceiving? How is this all like, so fluid and evolving, like that you could, two people could look at one thing and see something completely different. It's bizarre.
Well, just like the next image that I'm going to bring up, Brian Stavely's brought this image up before, but in my opinion, is like this is the like very impactful image. Hold on a sec. Stop sharing that one. Go back to StreamYard and share again. Share screen. This one blows my mind. That's why I like bringing it up, because it's just insane. It's like everybody's doing it. Like the whole group.
It's almost like the Heisman Trophy, where the whole group does something that's like completely
Whoops.
not consistent with the statue. You know what I
I
mean?
shared the wrong. I shared the
Oh.
wrong.
Oh yeah,
tab.
the Heisman Trophy changed. Like
Yeah.
Hold
Completely.
on a sec. I'll get that done real quick. There we go.
Christos always has those exotic thumbnails.
What's up, Christos?
What's up, guys?
Hey, Christos.
So here's the one that I'm talking about here. In the picture here, I can actually show you guys and break it down. The statue is not at all like what they're to. Like I can zoom in here.
Yeah, on the chin. I've seen that. Yeah.
All right.
In the
Okay.
garden. Yeah.
But watch this. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down to the people. Watch what they're all
Why
doing.
is it flickering?
What do you mean?
It's like flickering, like it's flickering between your photo, your profile, and that picture that you have up. Like, is that happening to anybody else, or is it just me?
Could be a glitch. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see
maybe
it.
the way I'm
yeah.
sharing.
Almost,
But anyway,
okay.
so I'll go back to the
Go ahead.
thing there. So here, look. Oh, I'll zoom out and look at everybody. Look at all of them. They're all putting their
On
hand,
their head.
forehead.
Yeah, to forehead.
All of
Fist to
them.
forehead. Yeah, exactly.
That's fucked up. Excuse my French, but like that is so bizarre.
It is bizarre. Like, why would they be all doing that? I mean, it's such a big difference between fist to forehead and you got a knuckle sandwich on your chin. I mean, it's like not even close.
But I can tell you right now, I was in that same garden and I remembered on the chin. But like that is so freaking bizarre to me. These people
and
are
it's not like
same
it was
thing.
just one person. It's all of them.
No, all of them. Yeah, all of them.
So here's my theory on this, right?
Okay.
That moment when this photo was actually taken, that I do believe that everybody who was there was witnessing the fist to forehead. Now, at some point later on, the statue had changed to, the knuckle sandwich under the chin. Once that change happened, retroactively, everything else that was about that statue had changed. Yet, for some reason, the people did not change. It's kind of like the same ideal of residue, like something like the lion and the lamb that has changed in the Bible, but the actual paintings and weavings and whatever else paraphernalia that people have created that actually they have put their hands on and touched and put in the effort and intention to create, that remained the way it is.
Well, I can't take that off the table. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, 100%.
Like it's like the Statue of Liberty. Like I remember growing up in school learning that the Statue of Liberty was on what island?
On
Ellis Island?
Ellis.
Was it Ellis Island?
Yeah, Ellis Island. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's no longer on Ellis Island. It's on Liberty Island, which I didn't even know existed. I had never known that. Exactly.
So I have like two key Mandela effects that I have to, like, people can shit on me, but
no, man.
I obviously believe in the whole concept. Obviously, as
we too. So like nobody's going to shit on you here.
No. So it could just be like what you guys were saying was like, people see a different thing. I actually went to a formal black tie event, and in 1999 at Ellis Island, the facility that was previously, for immigrants, and they had converted it into a museum, and
right,
we were all there, black tie, blah blah blah, and you could look out like, no, the Statue of Liberty is way over there, because you'd have to approach that only by boat. You know, Ellis Island, you can get there by bus. And
Right.
and so for me, you know, I don't resonate with that one. Another one that I don't resonate with, and I know I can get a lot of shit thrown at me, is the
No.
JFK
Right. The
6-seater versus 4-seater. So for me, like, there's no way the Texas governor in a parade for political purposes isn't going to have his first lady right by his side. So there was definitely, in my understanding of everything, you know, political and whatever, there were 6 people in that vehicle, because you had Jackie and JFK in the back. You had Governor Governor Colony. Is that right? It didn't sound right. Collie.
I mean, like, I remember 4 people in the car, not
Yeah,
6.
but
So that's where I come from.
the
Yeah,
governor,
Ryan Haltman goes 4-seater all the way.
but the governor and his wife in the middle jumper seat, and then you had a partition, and then you have a driver and a Secret Service dude in the passenger.
Yeah.
Like Governor Colony, and that doesn't sound right. I hate to. Anyway, you know what I mean. Like,
right.
There's no way that a governor of the state would not have his first lady with him in a parade kind of thing with the president and his first lady, you know, traipsing through downtown Dallas. There's no way. It's impossible in the political, when you think about, you know, political visibility and so forth. And I think the only reason we don't think about, like, you know, Governor Conley. Oh my God, Conley. Yeah, the only reason we don't think about Governor Conley's wife is that she wasn't injured, she wasn't involved in any of the shit, and but he was, and JFK was, and Jackie obviously, you know, responded, and the other 2 people are you know, are just, you know, not part of the story. But people, I mean, look, for me, it's a slam dunk that that's not an ME. But I can appreciate that I've taken the download. But for me, you know, I think, Notch, you know, you mentioned, like, when you just look at the common sense part of it, like, there's no way that a governor of the state doing a political, you know, parade would not have his first lady by his side. So anyway, so from a common, so anyway,
I mean, no,
but
like,
I could be totally wrong.
Well, I mean, these are all little things that we have to kind of, like, start adding together. I mean, it may or may not make sense to somebody else. And that's fine. Like, if it makes sense to oneself, that's the most important thing, you know. And we can't really poo-poo any other people's memories about this or that, because
I agree.
The reality, the reality of the matter is the memory is what it is. You know, like, that's what tells you, like, where you're coming from, quote unquote, where you're coming from. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
like,
I
don't.
agree. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, I totally agree. And my takeaway is, even though I may have, like, you know, differing views on a couple of these things, it totally doesn't detract from the fact that this thing is a real. This is a real thing.
That's all you need to know, really.
Yeah.
When it
It's a
comes down
real
to it, it's
thing.
like, is it or is it not happening? That's the first thing I ask people, like, who are not. And the fact of the matter is, people who don't even believe in the quote unquote the Mandela effect, they are speaking as if they have the alternate memories. You know, people
Yeah.
say all the time, like lion and a lamb, or two or more shall gather. Blah blah blah. I mean,
That's a
they
good
do it
point.
all the time.
Oh man,
They,
those Bible changes, blow me away. I have to say. I mean, those are the ones that are insane, and in my opinion, like, wow, how could this
yeah,
possibly be? Think
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So people go into different theories about like what's happening. So like one of the like theories maybe like is about time travel. Like, is there a time traveling thing going on? Now, I don't subscribe to the travel theory, and I told
Right?
people exactly why. Why? Because it's just like Back to the Future. Like Marty goes back to the past, right? And then he changes the future. Everybody who has been changed from Marty going back are different people. Those are not the
Yep.
same people from the previous reality. Only Marty is the same.
Right.
Marty and Doc, maybe, but everybody else is different. Even Doc is somewhat different because, like, he didn't go back to
Yeah.
the past. Only Marty
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. You're right. He is different. Yeah. Agreed.
So that's the thing. Like, if you think about like actual changes, quote unquote, like somebody went back into the past and changed the Bible around, right? And then they whispered into somebody's ear and say, hey, write down, wolf and the lamb, rather than the lion and the lamb, and then he sneaks off and goes back to the future. Okay, from that moment on, from like 400 years ago, from that moment on, we should nobody should have any memories about lion and a lamb or
Yeah.
wineskins
Right.
from that moment on
Yeah.
at all. But we
Absolutely.
have memories, we have residue about it. So to me, I'm going to discount like time travel as a factor just because based on that logic. Okay. Now, this parallel universe type of thing may or may not be happening, but I also discount that a little bit. Why? Here's the reason. Like, remember the example that I gave before, that you take any two Mandela effect individuals, you give them like 100 questions, and no two individuals will be exactly the same in their memories because they will have different loads at different times and stuff like this. What that tells me is that everybody is Mandela affected, more or less, because the people who are not even aware of the Mandela effect are speaking as if Mandela effect has happened. Like, they'll talk about like, Berenstein Bears, or they'll talk about, Smokey the Bear, not Smokey Bear,
Uh-huh.
or
Right.
whatnot. I mean, they'll speak in those terms, and they are not even aware of those changes, right? So I know
Right.
they're affected, even though they're not aware that they're affected. So what it tells me is that we're all experiencing this together, and the people who are Mandela affected are just the ones who are aware of the Mandela effect, right? The people who are unaware of the Mandela effect, it's just simply it's happening to them too, but they're just unaware of it.
Yeah. They just don't have a clue.
That's a
Well,
great point, honestly.
Well, here's another thing that was bizarre. So, the Ford emblem, right? Where
Right,
people
with a
like,
pigtail.
yeah. And so for me, since I have my when my father was younger, he and his brother salvaged, my grandfather's, old Model T Ford, and I have a few. I have the ignition switch, and we have the whole thing in parts, but whatever. But I have like a 1922 Model T Ford ignition switch that I have, here in my house, and I've always known that there was this curly Q on the F. But here's the thing. I wanted to share, and I mentioned it to Brian on one show way back in the day. Was that I was having some body work done on one of my vehicles, And at the body shop, they had on their table in the lounge, like, this book about like Ford and, all the history about Ford. And I mentioned to the dude behind the desk, and I said, hey, some people, claim that they don't remember this Ford script emblem, looking like that. Like, and this dude who just so happened to be like one of the installers or one of the, restorers back there. This is a shop that does, collision work as well as, vintage classic car restoration. So it's not just like a chop shop, it's a total. So he was like, oh shit, I've painted, how many Ford emblems, on restorations of old, classic Fords, pickups or whatever on the tailgate or whatever. I've never noticed that squiggle, that little curly Q. He never noticed it. So for me, it was like, wow, this is, this is some bizarre shit right here, man. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
The dude who's doing all these renovations, he never, like, until I pointed it out, it was like, oh my God, what the fuck is that? Squiggly. I've painted them on vehicles. I've never noticed that. That was bizarre to me,
Yeah.
I like how we can refer back to old memories that we have, basically like contextual memories. And I guess this could be considered part of like the whole residue effect. But the way I like to present Mandela effect is sometimes, which I feel is a convincing aspect to bring up, is the whole idea of having a memory that you can separate outside of said Mandela effect, but is also attached, kind of like it's like an anchor memory. So basically, let's just say you specific. Oh, here it is. This is what Here's a good example: Sex in the City versus Sex and the City.
right?
So I remember as a kid,
Yeah.
like having some, forefront thoughts in my head of like being a little kid. I was like, oh, there's a bad word on TV. It's Sex in the City. And so just, growing up, it's just one of those little things. I remember back when I was a little kid, and you kind of laugh at it or whatever. But that I
Right.
have that specific memory that sticks out in my head. And this was before anything about the Mandela effect was known about on my end of things. So having that memory and taking into account the whole Mandela effect, we can look back at our life and have specific times where we were having some type of like out of ordinary thought, or just like a memory that lasts, a memory that we've thought back on a few times.
Yeah.
Like an anchor memory?
Yeah, exactly. Anchor memory. Yep. So I wasn't sure if that was like an actual term, and that's why I threw in
Oh
anchor.
yeah, it's totally, it is.
Okay, yeah.
So that resonated for you, Christos, because like in your formative years, you like saw this title of this show as being almost like naughty. We all, when we're younger, when we're younger, I remember, and I'll be honest and say this. I remember asking my mom, like, what is the deal? A buddy at school said that there's a company that makes, toilet seats, and they're called church seats, which was a manufacturer. It was probably the name of the dude. And I said, that's not right, is it? And she had to kind of like, well, it's a manufacturer. It doesn't mean you're, it doesn't. It's not sacrilegious. And back in my formative years, but like,
Hmm.
so I totally know what you're saying. Like when you're really young, this shit, hits home because you remember it. You're gonna remember it the rest of your life when you're young like that. Like I just said,
There's still beauty products that are called like Sex
Exactly.
in the City, and so
Oh yeah, there's Sex in the City perfume. I remember a girl had a video out there, uh, basically showing this thing she has as residual evidence.
most
Well,
most of these changes are very subtle. If you notice, like the A
Hmm.
turning into the, or the being added to, like like the dark side of the moon, rather than just dark side of the moon, things like that is very
yeah,
subtle. Or S is probably the most changed letter, in my opinion, in the Mandela effect world, because like Sally Fields or Christopher Reeves, like S gets moved around a lot, and I sometimes wonder, like, do they get injected like revelations? I remember revelations rather than revelation, as an example.
yeah,
So like
Same here.
S
Yeah.
is like, so I mean, it's
agreed.
just, yeah. And so like Berenstain, like when I start to look into it, I'm like Brian did a show with Nathan and
Oh yeah,
C3PO Mark, right, recently. And watched Rufio's videos. I've watched all of them. I've seen Eugene Green's videos, probably most of them. But like what their premise is, and which I have also come to the similar conclusion too, is that these changes are not random. In my opinion, they're not just whatever, like a whim type of deal. They have some meaning behind them. It's about how we can interpret these meanings, and
What
and
if
there
it
could be.
was a form
wow,
of
interesting.
more I was thinking maybe what if it was a form of Morse code
Yeah,
for
I
the
mean,
for
it's a form of code for sure. It is definitely. It's a different code. It's a
yeah,
new puzzle.
it's like something trying to communicate something to us.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, one dude who clearly is on board with the whole, sex in the city versus sex and the city is Nathan. Like that dude is a theatrical, drama,
Yeah.
lifelong dude. And he's like, there's no fucking way, excuse my French, that it wasn't, Sex in the City. Cause he, so, I mean, to me, somebody like him who was like immersed in that whole genre. And he was like, what is going on here? You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. So pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, like people who are like, whose careers or professions are,
Yeah.
involved in certain things, then obviously they're going to have like stronger anchor memories than, the rest of
Right.
us in regards to
Exactly.
that. So,
Yeah.
so
But I mean that's a pretty, pretty prominent, Mandela effect, the whole sex in the city versus sex and the city. And for just the, the Mandela, affected population at large, but to have like Nathan be so like entrenched, it's almost like, wow, that's a pretty strong evidence.
Hmm.
But
And it's just thing after thing. It's like all these different people within professions and fields where it's like, if anyone is to have remembered, accurately, it would be these people. And some of them really, some
yeah,
people are like NPC drones. It's like they have no clue at all that
well,
anything
there's
has
there's
changed,
nothing you
even
can
though
do
they've
about them.
worked with it for
Yeah.
so long.
right.
But there are the people that do notice that something is fishy, like with the engine planes. I think there was someone that works with the
Yeah.
planes that was talking
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
confusing them or blowing their mind. So
I mean,
Well,
I think
often.
I think the reality is that well, I say reality, you know, once you are like, no, there's this is a real thing. I mean, I can't put my finger on it. I can't prove it. I can't, but I'm totally, on board with there's something going on here then you're more open-minded to at least entertain. And it doesn't mean that they all resonate, but there's so many people who would be like, shut it down immediately. And I think that's where Brian Stavely is like, you know, like, I'm done with you people who were supposed to be, you know,
Yeah.
flat earthers or whatever, you know, open-minded people about all the, you know, the stuff that's gone on the past 3 years or whatever. And then like, you can't even be open-minded to this stuff. Come on.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that is that like when like for example, if you never knew the Mandela effect ever existed, as an example, right? Let's just pretend that
Right.
that was the case, and you do notice a change. You can notice a change, but like this reality or supernatural changes is not the first thing that you're going to be thinking about. That yeah, like things are supernaturally changing. That's not the first thing people are going to think about. They're going to think about, well, maybe the marketing thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
you're
company,
right.
like they rebranded, stovetop stuffers, or maybe Kraft bought them out. It's no longer uh I mean, like they would
Yeah,
not automatically go to that supernatural change to be the thing. It's
yeah,
like and then they're going to come up with these like quote unquote reasons, and they're legitimate reasons, like, right, and then they're going to settle with that for the most
yeah,
part. Oh yeah, like Ford put that pigtails on, and yeah, I don't remember without the pigtail, but like, so what? It's benign,
yeah,
and it's a logo change. Yeah, they put a dash on VW because like you can't tell it was a VW, so somebody decided to put a dash on it to make it very clear it's a Volkswagen, duh,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's almost like, you're gonna, revert back to the
You're gonna
material
justify
realm,
it.
the material realm, you know, where
And
like,
it's normal, it's natural, because
yeah, it's
that would
natural.
like that.
You're gonna be like, oh, that can't be because of this. You're absolutely gonna just do that. I mean, it's almost like peer pressure. And a lot of people like,
It's like Occam's razor. Like, you're not gonna like think about like the most weird and strangest thing that's gonna
no,
occur to I mean, like, you're gonna
you're gonna
find the
go
most
to like,
logical.
yeah, exactly. You're gonna go to, even though the logical thing is not very logical, but you're gonna just like grasp. It's almost like,
Yeah, you
going
justify it.
going with the globe Earth, for example. Like, you're just gonna like completely repeat what we've all been told, but like,
Sure.
well, that doesn't make any damn sense, if you really look at it and scrutinize it. So it's almost like a protective layer of humanity that they don't want to be viewed as an outsider, like most people.
Well, I
Most
was
people.
gonna.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Keep going.
No, go.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
all right. Yeah, cool. I agree with you because I was gonna say, when Nachikita was talking there minutes ago, it made me think of basically, yeah, it's like there's multiple layers of like firewalls of cognitive dissonance to like go through, like, quote unquote, like the stages you work through until you can finally come to that reconciliation within yourself of, does it feel that it is real and true or not?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'll add on to that, in that I do feel like that you know a person has to almost go through some sort of like, and this is, maybe a generalization or whatever, but like, a person has to go through some form of personal trauma, like, meaning some disruption in their home life, some disruption in their living conditions, some disruption in their work arrangement, some disruption in loss of a parent, some disruption, some deep embedded, human disruption call it almost like trauma. But
Yeah, it's trauma. I mean, like there are a lot of people within the community, Mandela effect community, who have had like near death experiences or
yes,
out of body experiences and stuff like that. I mean, there are a lot of
exactly.
supernatural, like spiritual type of experiences, like higher than so if you take all the people in the world and you try to like assess like what percentage of people have had that experience, I would say within the Mandela effect community, it's probably double or more of that.
Yes,
You know, I mean, higher
yes.
than the average. Okay.
Well
So,
said. Well said. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, like, what is that saying? For
well,
everybody. It's almost, yeah.
it says that people are more open to the possibility of what this reality has to offer, quote unquote. Okay. Again, reality is very shifty and it's based on perspective. But if you are closed off, just like globe earthers or like people who are
Yeah.
not like Mandela affected, and they say, and one of the key components is, do you or do you not believe it's a possibility that things can supernaturally change? The Mandela effect, a person who is Mandela affected undoubtedly know that things are changing supernaturally. The people who do not consider them or identify themselves as Mandela affected does like categorically believe that it's not possible. It's not a possibility things can.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they might have known the Bible and it's like, very awkward or weird for them that they don't know about a particular line. But the last thing they're going to think is that the Bible can actually change. And there are a lot of people who are very upset if you say to them that the Bible has changed. They're like, there's no way the word of God could change,
Oh, yeah. Well, it
that
sounds like, yeah. I was just going to say, it sounds like there's a lot of people, like, and I don't, get into those arguments. But like
I did before, but yeah, whatever. That was a couple years ago.
Adamant Christians who like, like the word of God cannot change, and like if you, I've seen enough videos, Brian or whatever, Tommy, tell the truth. You point this shit out, and like these people, just like have a breakdown and go completely,
they will look at you like you're absolutely crazy, and I can understand why. They're like, you believe that the like the word of God is changing. You believe that things are happening supernaturally. Like I can completely see why they think their reasoning is more logical and more sound than us. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Like if in the materialist world, in this, like without any supernatural stuff, in a materialistic world, they're 100% correct. They're justified. We're in the wrong according to them, and I get it. It's just that I am Mandela affected, and I looked into it. And the thing is, and I try to be very careful about it because there are a lot of people who are content creators these days,
right.
And they're kind of willy nilly and a little bit loose. I would say, I dare say, they're a little bit loose with the terminology, with the Mandela effect, and it doesn't really. So, I mean, it sounds amazing. Like you can find the Mandela effect every week of the day, like, oh my God, these animals have changed, and some animals have, maybe we never really knew about them. Maybe we're just dumbass, uneducated people. We don't know. But then, like, I'm not saying that people are making shit up, but I think there's a little bit of, reaching that's kind of happening. Let's say it that way.
There's definitely some reaching, which goes to discredit the whole thing, and that's that's my biggest beef about the whole thing. Is almost like
you have to look for every other explanation except we know it's happening. You only need one example. You only need an example that you're 100% sure about, right? That has changed. Then you're Mandela affected. That's the only thing that you need.
All
just
you
like
need
the globe
one.
Earth. Like the water is level, that's one reason. That's enough. That's the only thing that you need. Okay. However, like if there's a new change, let's say, whatever it might be, like turmeric or whatever. I mean, I can't come up with an example right now, but you want to look for every explanation as to why it is not a Mandela effect. That's what I go for. I try to come up with any explanation, and if those explanations are plausible, then I say, okay, it's most likely it's because of that. Maybe because I didn't know enough
Yeah.
about this subject, or whatever. Maybe we didn't discover this animal, or maybe something has happened. But then
Right.
when you're left with no other possibility except for the fact that the supernatural thing has occurred, then you can put it into that category of quote unquote Mandela effect. Then it's like gold forever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like any other real Mandela effect changes that we have come across. They're like you can plaster them on the board. It's like this is for real. Like Ed McMahon,
Oh yeah.
like
Ed
you know what I mean?
McMahon.
Like that's a big one.
100%. Big.
What
Huge.
about Mirror Mirror? Mirror
It's a big
Mirror is a
one.
big one too,
Yeah.
man.
It's a pretty big one. Like in the original German, it says Spiegel, Spiegel, like just the same. Like mirror, mirror on the wall. It doesn't say
Yeah.
magic mirror on the wall.
Yeah. It's I mean, for me, that one is almost less less significant. I almost look at these things, like high degree of significance or low degrry or
Like
whatever.
impact.
Yeah.
Like cultural impact.
Right. Stronger, weaker, and
And
but
personal.
yeah, for sure. But
And Ed McMahon is a big one.
Oh, I agree with you, Natch. And the thing about people that are super religious, and I'm not shitting on any of that, but like they believe in these supernatural things that happen in the Bible, and they are totally supernatural, like turning, feeding, thousands of people with just, fish and, loaves of bread, like it, multiplied, or turning water into wine or whatever. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
If you are religious, at least in the Christianity standpoint, and I'm sure others, obviously, it's all supernatural. And so when those people can't at least entertain or embrace or consider other types of supernatural shit that's going on, I mean, it's almost like a befuddling, quandary. I have no idea what the fuck's going through their head. You believe in this supernatural thing over here, but like when presented with evidence of supernatural thing going on over here, you're like, well, all kinds of excuses, or it just doesn't correlate. It doesn't for me. Yeah,
Intellectually dishonest and inconsistent.
exactly, Christos. In my opinion, I mean, it just, how can you see this but not that? I guess is the thing. But it just, I guess it just goes to show, the degree of programming that even even religions, organized religions, we all know are especially pre-programming people.
Okay, so
yeah,
I don't mean to interrupt, but
no,
I mean,
gave a lot there. Yeah, please.
It is. I think one of the things that we have to, we as like the people who are Mandela affected, are we come to terms with is the fact that not everybody's going to wake up to it.
Right.
It's just a matter of fact. It's just a globe Earth and flat Earth. Like it's no, like for me, like it's great if we can get people into the fold of things, and there are more people who are waking up to the Mandela effect. But to try to make people see something that is glaringly obvious to some of us is sometimes it's not possible.
I agree.
So
I agree 100%. It's almost like you're just wasting your breath. I mean, it's fun to try to wake people up, and eventually some people do. I mean,
there's got to be the right approach about it, because people are, that's not the first thing that they're going to go to in terms of like being able to consider that as a possibility. So it's just like having a conversation, just like we're having now, and not even to say that I'm a flat earther or not, or not even to say that I'm Mandela affected or not, even though we know we all are, blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
then just having a conversation, it's like, oh man, you know, I really enjoyed this movie, you know, Field of Dreams. Have you ever seen Field of Dreams? What was that, you know, famous line in there, man? You know, like if you build it, you know, it's like, you know, you kind of lay it out there, you know, a little bit, and then let's see how they
Yeah.
finish it, you know. And they'll say, if you build it, they will come, you know. It's like, oh yeah, exactly. If you build it, they will come. They finish the sentence for you, you know, and
Yeah.
then you start to show them, oh, it's like, wait a minute, like, is that true? And then, you know, you can find something that they resonate with, and there is going to be something, at least 1, 2, 3, 4 things that they really resonate with, that they were 100% sure about, and then you show them the evidence, and then they're like, holy shit, it never was that way I remembered it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, you know, I mean, you know, when was it? You know, probably 5 years ago that a lot of this shit, this like the whole like, wait, NASA's full of shit and the Earth is
Mm-hmm.
not like a floating globe, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, all, you know, Mandela effect, you know. And so, you know, early on, I mean, I think all of us that like have that epiphany. It's almost like, I got to tell the whole world or my
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
friend base or whatever, like, guys, this is fucked up. I mean, like, and so, you know, I learned
Yeah.
my
Do you ever
lesson. Like,
think? Do you ever think that the flat Earth is the Mandela effect?
No,
You know,
I
I
do
would go
not.
as far as saying that, because it never, dude. Think of how long has it been in discussion on YouTube. It's not something. It's been around about the
it
same
it
time as the Mandela effect.
it
No,
popped
well,
up
it was
about
before.
like 2014 or thereabouts, that
Uh,
really kicked in. I don't know, Natch. What do you think?
well, okay. So I woke up around 2014 myself, and it's like maybe a little bit, you know, quicker than some other people, but you know,
Yeah.
like Mark Sargent was already making YouTube videos at that time when I was waking up, and so was Eric Dubay. So both of those guys. But then there, Matt Borland, the
Powerland.
math
Powerland.
Powerland, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but his real actual name is Borland. Okay.
Right.
Uh, so he was making videos as far back as 2010, and you know, I'm friends with
Wow.
some, you know, I'm friends with some lot of flat earthers, and we have discussions about this. And some of these guys woke up, you know, and was looking at stuff like that, like back in 2010, you know. So
Yeah.
um, so you know, like Mark Sargent, of course, everybody knows who he is, and you know, he's a big
Yeah.
figure in the community, blah blah blah. And like Eric Dubay, and then there are other people like Jeranism, and you know, Globebusters. They started to come out like 2015. Come out.
Right.
I mean, like they start to make their stuff like 2015, 2016. You know, and Crow 777 Radio. So these guys were, you know, coming in a little bit later, but there are people who were already like talking about it like way before them, you know,
Yeah.
years before them, but it was nowhere as popular of a topic than it is now, you know.
Agreed.
Like
Yeah. It was
not,
almost
now
a
it's like
fringe thing.
thousands of times bigger than it
Oh
was
yeah.
like when I was waking up like 2014. Man, I had nobody to talk with, and I just like, wow, you know, I mean, like nobody at all, you know. But now it's like you know, you got David Weiss, and then he's got the app. So I don't know. I don't really think that flat Earth itself is a quote unquote Mandela effect, but the Mandela effect was starting to pop up around the same time, like 2014. Like a lot of the people, like Moneybags,
Right.
Jerry, and some of these like Brian Savely,
Brian.
those
Yeah.
guys were waking up around 2014 at that time. But I have spoken to Cynthia Sue Larson as well, and she said that she was aware of it, and other people too, that they were aware of it way before. You know, like
But
Call for Zero, another big member in the
yeah.
like community. He talked about like being aware of the changes like way before, like in the 90s and shit like that.
But
Okay,
they didn't
so
have a name. They didn't have a name. You
exactly,
know, the you know, the quote unquote, you know, copyrighted name or whatever you want to say.
yeah,
But you
the
know,
coin.
Yeah.
term.
But
Yeah.
but I will say, like, so when I finally, like, realized that the moon land, all that Apollo shit was total garbage, and then I rushed to share that with some people that I thought like would like be
Right.
receptive to this information, like,
Yeah.
and I was told that I needed mental health, which is hilarious to me.
Oh man.
But
Wow.
it just goes to show you that, like, this stuff, with the wrong audience, they're going to look at you like you're a fucking lunatic.
Of course they will.
Yeah.
Of course they will.
It doesn't matter if they're loved ones or whatever. It's almost like the loved ones are going to go like, "Hey, you need some mental
That's
help."
that's the thing. That's why one has to be very careful. I mean, you're talking
Yes,
about the very
exactly.
talking the very fabric of reality is you're pulling that apart from the seams. I mean, that's why it's
Yes,
a big deal.
it's a total. Yeah, it completely, crushes everyone's, like, fabric of what they learn and what they understand about reality and existence and day-to-day life. Like, you do not want to disrupt that without, like, thinking ahead. So I learned a big
Yeah.
lesson there.
You have
Yeah,
to treat people's psyche with utmost respect. You really do.
exactly. But initially it was almost like, how does I got to share this with everybody because you got to know this stuff. And
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
but no, they, a lot of people, most people, like, no, we don't want to know this. We're just going to ignore this. We're going to
Right.
make you look insane for even bringing this shit up, because otherwise we're going to have to face a lot of stuff that's very, very uncomfortable, including that our government is lying to us and has been lying to us for freaking, decades, if not centuries, right?
Well, yeah, all your life, all your parents' life, all your
Yeah,
grandparents' life, all your great parents'
all
life.
of
I
it,
mean, like for hundreds of years for sure.
Let's say
all of it.
at least a century for sure.
Yeah, at least
For
a
sure.
century, if not longer. Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, let's get into theories a little bit more because, like, like Patrick, you were talking about like the parallel universe theory, right?
Yeah, like what they're pushing on the dude, they push it in DC Comics, they push it in Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
the Mars, so in the MCU, they push it a lot, man. So in my opinion, it's because maybe it's they're trying to tell us the truth without necessarily telling us the truth. You know what I'm saying? Putting the truth in fiction and making it having you believe it's fiction, but it's actually reality. So it's starting to get me think, especially with the Spider-Man and how and Doctor Strange and
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet Witch and all these multiversal, and now they have the Quantumania with Ant-Man and the Wasp, and even in the DC universe they have the multiverse where they have the Flash going back in time and talking with a Batman that's in an alternate universe. It's not even the same Batman in his universe, and brings all the Batmans back together or whatever. So it's another, and also in the television series of the Flash, you have the multiverse thing going on all the time, where there's all kinds of different realities, and so it's a recurring theme. So in my opinion, and with my own experiences so far, I've noticed that I've, like I said before, I've noticed these changes. Like, they're very subtle, and it's in all kinds of different situations. Like I was explaining before, like the gas tank or the teeth, but it's not just that; it's other things. It's so
Right.
it's
So,
it's like I'm aware of the changes, but I can't like be very specific about them because I'd have to write them down, like or something when it happens.
yeah. So, like, what's interesting here is that some of the research that we were doing, like, for example, like I was on a channel and Boston Ray was actually talking about it. And you guys remember the logo for Fruit of the Loom? Do you guys remember the logo for the Fruit of the Loom?
Yeah, had a, of course, yeah, it has a, what is it called there? That thing in the background.
A cornucopia.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
it. I remember
So
it that way
cornucopia
too.
is that basket, right? And then, like, it was, on the backdrop, and then in front you have like fruits and vegetables, and that's just like spilling out of the basket. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah, of
But
course.
it's no longer, right?
100.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
have the
there's no
cornucopia
longer.
anymore in the background. Yeah, it's kind of weird
Okay,
looking.
now, yeah. So what's interesting now is that if you look at the patent, because like with all these companies, they have to do trademarking, right? I mean, they have to register their company, they have to register the names, they have to register the logos. Everything has to be registered, right? So that, like, if somebody is trying to copy your, product, then you can sue them,
Right.
right? Okay.
Hmm.
What's interesting is that, like, for example, like if you have the cornucopia, they actually wrote out in the patent, in the register, that there is a basket, a cornucopia. They even wrote it out, cornucopia. It still exists, you know?
In the patent.
Like the descriptor, so you have to, it's like filling out a form, and you have to like have a photo or some kind of like a thing about your logo, and then in the description section you have to describe about what that logo is like and stuff like this. So when you go through it, you find out it says actually cornucopia there without the cornucopia. That's strange, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
And
That's
another,
that's
solid.
insane.
yeah, and then here's another thing. Like 3 years ago, like a friend of mine and myself were looking at Berenstein versus Berenstain. Even the letter changes. I mean, like, it's a big difference. Like, why can't China make Berenstein bears and somebody makes Berenstain bears? I mean, they can just make a exact copy and change the letters around and say, hey, and then sell it for 50% off, right? No, 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 we're not Berenstein Bears. We're Berenstain Bears, right? I mean, like, somebody else is just making a copy of it, right? But the thing is, when you again go through the trademark of these things, you're gonna find that it says Berenstain Bears, and what was going on there at that time was that these companies who were the publishers for Berenstein Bears, they realized the changes occurred, and they're like reapplying to allow those changes be in effect so that they have ownership of that product. Do you guys understand what I mean here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
Holy
it.
shit.
Yeah.
That's insane too.
So,
That's crazy insane.
like,
But Natch, I had to step away for a second. So you mentioned the whole copyright of the Fruit of the Loom, right?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that one is one of the most obvious
right.
of all like copyright patented, descriptions or whatever. I think it
Well,
was
I mean, you can
UAP.
extrapolate.
Hey,
Yeah,
here's a good
UAP.
question
Go
for you
ahead.
guys.
Oh,
How
go
about
ahead.
this? What's the longest river in the US?
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Oh, I guess you guys are gonna have to look that up.
It's not. Evidently not.
Is it the Missouri River now or what?
Hold on, I think it's, yeah, I think it is. Hold on a second, let me look it up.
Holy shit. This is always dangerous when a Canadian is telling us what the U.S.
10 longest rivers. Number one. Let me see. Oh, where do I have to go? I have to click that site, go there, go to that site. See. Number one. Yeah, Missouri River. It's the longest.
Missouri.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah.
2,341 miles.
Missouri River.
And then in second place is the Mississippi River.
Right.
Wow.
Isn't that
So-
a mind bender?
That does not compute.
I mean, like, if you look at, like, for example, like the quantum of not quantum of conscience, but the quantum businessman. He has a channel. He talks about the Mandela effect. He's part of the International Mandela Effect Conference board member, and he has a company where they do programming for the what do you call it? Like, when cash registers, they print out receipts and stuff like that. So he has a company where they were doing programming for like grocery stores, and the thing that woke him up is that they've always had Haas avocados, HAAS.
Oh yeah, man. That's like
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he noticed that it was no longer Haas avocados, it became Has avocados. Like,
Yeah.
even just think about even the pronunciation, HASS versus HAAS. Like, should they even
Right.
sound the same?
No,
Or
they
not?
don't. They don't.
They should not even sound the same. Like I would say
Haas
Haas,
and
Haas,
Haas and
Has.
Hess. Yes, exactly.
right? So because of that change, he started to investigate, and it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, has, as Brian has said, in German means hate. HASS, it means hate. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So these kind of things, like, when you talk about all these like trademark stuff like this, like, and then they are applying to rebrand their whatever product, or they're actually in the patent, they're talking about cornucopia, stuff like this. This is all residue of something
Mhm.
that existed. And I would bet you, and I didn't really look into Has that much, but I bet you something similar is happening with that company, where they're like, oh shit, we were always Has, but now the product is HASS, but then the original register is probably under HAAS. Now we got to go and change that before somebody else make claims on that, shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Shit, we should go for the next Mandela effect and try to claim it.
Take over a
Hey,
company.
Yeah.
Copyright. Yeah. OTW News, copyright.
We were the
Exactly.
ones. We were the ones who started the Ford's company, the Volkswagen. That's us.
Yeah.
Skechers,
but
that's our idea.
It is a bizarre concept, and the fact that people,
Yo, Tommy, how's it going?
the people
Can y'all hear me?
Hey,
Yes.
Okay.
Tommy, tell the
Tommy-
truth in the house,
Tommy,
ladies
tell
and
the
gentlemen.
truth.
I was
Welcome
just
to
going
the
to
stream, dude.
comment. We don't know how many other changes there have been. We possibly do. All these companies that do change their names and logos, just out of the blue, all of a sudden, those they could have realized that there was a change before we did, and went ahead and changed, their name or logo.
Yeah.
Well, any
good point.
logo, actually. Think about Fruit Loops.
Yeah, I worked in a grocery store for many years, and I ordered Fruit Loops. I ordered Jiffy peanut butter. All the ones in the grocery store, I'm highly affected by, because I worked with those products every day and ordered them. I mean, you just it's I even the paperwork. So I would order every product in the store, and then help stock it, and then do all the accounting paperwork for all that. So I'm just constantly seeing all of these products, Depends, Febreze, you name it. There's tons of them, and so I mean, I'm getting truth bumps right now, because it always hits me pretty hard when we mention the grocery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
see
like
that.
Fabrice, right? Fabrice, how is it spelled now? It's like Fabrice, S,
With one
like one
E,
E.
Say
right?
truth
No,
bumps.
One E. That's bizarre.
But it's kind of weird because I remember it called Free Breeze.
what?
Febreze.
In
Yeah.
No,
in
Free Breeze, like
Mhm.
FREBER. Anyway, Free
Oh,
Breeze.
2 R's. I actually misspelled Febreze earlier and put 2 R's in it, like you just said. That's weird. I did that by accident.
I only know Fabrice or depends. But I mean, I'm not invalidating your memory, but I'm just saying, like, that's all I remember.
And there is now, wasn't back then, but there is some adult diapers now called Attens, like
oh my
Attens,
god.
Attens. Yeah.
I think they're fucking gaslighting us. I mean, Brian talked about this, and like the peanut guy, with this monocle and shit like that. I mean, like they
Oh yeah.
know the Mandela effect is happening. They know it, and that's why they're gaslighting us and coming
Well,
out with these like movies and TV shows. Like,
Yeah.
you're a
I go
crazy
even
Good
farther.
psychopath.
point. Good point, Natch.
I go even farther with it. They could even be trying to run a psyop simultaneously with it.
Oh
too.
yeah.
So I mean, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
doubt they're sneaky.
Oh yeah, you muddy the waters, and
Yep.
throw stuff out there to that they know it's not a Mandela effect, but to just conflate it more, and
Yeah.
people latch onto it, and then
And
they
even
run with it.
and even Starfire Tour could have been a part of that program.
That's what I was saying. I mean,
Yeah.
I listened to her videos, and like me,
She's strange.
I comment. I was trying to get a hold of her. I was like, let's talk, and then I never got any kind of response.
Yeah, well, I think she claimed like she originally, kind of did reach out to, or not reach out to us, but like try to embrace our community, and like it didn't work out for her. We didn't embrace her or something. I don't know, and it might not even have been us, but she was talking about it in the '90s with Art Bell on Coast to Coast. So, I mean, you have to give her
Yeah.
a little credit that she was in the know about something so crazy, as this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. But the thing is, like, if she says, because this is what she was saying, she was claiming that she deliberately gave misinformation about Nelson Mandela dying to see who's going to run with that. And then,
Yeah.
of course, Fiona.
Yeah.
After she polled thousands of people and said, "What's your memory of Nelson Mandela?" And they all said anything but that. And so nobody said he died in prison. So then she says, I mean, she could be a Looney Tune, but she's on Coast to Coast. Me and you aren't, So I mean, she's got some credit with somebody somewhere,
Yeah.
or she's in the CIA or whatever, some kind of program. But so. She said once she put the lie out there for a while, then she repolled people, and then people started telling her at that point that they remembered Nelson
Right.
Mandela dying in prison. So that's pretty crazy. I mean, and I think that's been proven in smaller cases probably, but you could put a lie out there in your school or your community, and and then people could latch onto it for whatever reason they do, and claim it for their memory, or it happens. So I
Right.
think that's what's going on is they were trying to hijack the supernatural situation. Perhaps she was, and then she got mad at Art Bell and Fiona Broom because they weren't doing their part, whatever, or jumped the gun, and stuff. So I mean, it sounded like a scripted thing that they were trying to do, for sure.
And Fiona Bloom, I mean, she has nothing to do with the community whatsoever. She like completely disappeared. She's gone.
Well, yeah,
Nobody knows what's going on.
And Starfire Tour doesn't like her, blamed her and all that stuff. So, they don't get along. So they probably were told to part ways, or they were both fired from the thing,
from the CIA.
Yeah, whatever they're in. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there because we should look at everything that has been put out there with this phenomenon.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, 100. I mean, that's what we're doing. I mean, like we're all affected. We're passionate about it. You've been You've been with it for a long time. I've been with it for a long time. Brian is a big figure in the community, and I don't try to take sides, but, there are a lot of different theories going on. We know about EYA, right? The Bible changes. She does great work. I have a lot of respect for her. I just had a few little hiccups with her, and I don't really I listen to her, but I
Well,
don't really
I
chat
mean,
with them,
I used to be on her show regularly, and she loved me until she found out I smoked pot. Oh my God, I'm the devil all of a sudden.
What? Oh
Yeah.
my God,
Oh, I mean,
Oh my
dude.
God.
I mean, she used to leave
Tommy.
leave sweet comments on my channel, and then all of a sudden, boy, she just turned on me for just
She's
because I
very
smoked pot.
judgy.
Hey,
She's
Wiz,
so fucking judgy.
come
But
on.
she's still good at what she does. But some of the changes she claims are in the Bible, I don't agree with. But that I don't agree with every change. Anyway. But
Right.
yeah, but she's too judgmental. I guess you could say, yeah.
I have respect.
Huh.
I have respect for her, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, and then you have that Sagittarius arm guy who's like just calling people out like as complete shills, and that guy's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, know about you know about him?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
So there's a guy. He has like a Sagittarius arm channel, and he believes that we move planets from Sagittarius arm because like what Carl Sagan talked about, like how we used to be at the Sagittarius arm, and then if you look at what NASA tells you now, we're at the Orion Spur. So now we're in the Orion Spur, but we used to. So they're called the Sagittarius Arm Society. So every one of us who
Oh
are
my
seeing the
God.
changes, we came from the Sagittarius arm, and now we're in
Well,
the
it
Orion
was
Spur.
it was something easy for him to latch on and run with, I guess. See, you don't know what my intentions are. You don't know what each content creator's true intentions are. A lot of them just want to be, seen and heard, and
They
they,
want to have
I
that
mean,
little niche.
yeah, whatever, and yeah, that's one of those things, Yeah, anybody could, you know latch onto that one and say, it's kind of funny, but I don't want to believe anything NASA says anyway, or any space scientist or, theorist.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of, it was kind of neat when it first came around, but
Okay, so his premise is this, right? And part of it I kind of agree with, which is that this reality was always what it was. It's just the fact that you have changed. You have
right.
changed, and you have entered into this body, which may have existed now, but your memories and shit, consciousness was of another reality. Like
Well,
installed yourself into this reality, and then this reality has always been that. So you've changed. But this
well,
reality has not changed.
I've had several near death experiences, like many of us.
What are you saying? Like we'd be traveling between ourselves in each multiverse, kind of.
Well, I don't believe that. I'm a single timeline theory guy, and I explained as to why I believe that. Because if every one of us is coming from different timelines, slightly different parallel universes, just because we have one or two memories that is a little bit different from us, then every single one of us will be coming from our own little timeline. And I'd rather think that we're all coming from the single timeline, and then within that single timeline, some of us are getting like a download and some of us are not. Some of us remember the quote unquote the original, and some of us got the download of the memory that is what it is at the moment. And then here's another thing to talk about, which is the body changes. Like for example, your kidneys have moved,
Yeah,
right?
now
Like
they
in
say they
boxing.
just float around, though. Now they say they just float around.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but your heart location of your heart, has changed, and there are other like body changes that people talked about, like your skulls has changed. There are other things that have changed.
Oh
But
yeah.
the
What
thing
about the
is,
pockets behind your eyes? You used to have like
right,
your eyes used to be
The
empty.
bone,
Now,
the bone behind your eyes. Yeah.
yeah.
the bone, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So like when you think about, like I was talking about this actually about a week ago because I'm organizing like a Mandela effect uh, discussion, but that's like offline. It's on another channel, like not a channel, but like another place, Rip and Rabbit Hole. And I may do that, so I will let you guys know about that if you guys want to be, participating in that. But so one of the things that, one of the things that we were talking about there is that like I was saying is that, hey, like if you think about the body changes, like what makes your body what it is? What makes your body what it is? It's the DNA, right? The coding on the DNA, right?
Okay.
Like if you think about a DNA and then you map it out, like there's codes that makes you who you are. Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
but
Right.
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
So if there are any body changes that are happening, for example, that your kidneys have moved up, your heart has moved to the center, your eye sockets, whatever, any which body changes that there might be, could it be possible that the DNA could have been edited somehow?
Well, they're trying to do that right now with the last 3 year thing, with the V,
Well, I know that, but
Yeah,
that's not even
yeah.
what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like some kind of supernatural
Well, yes. I
editing.
mean,
Retroactive.
Brian
yeah.
talks about it being like God is changing our bodies to help us, survive in the future or whatever, right?
Right. Like, I mean, like, these, all these parts that we have, for whatever reason, like even the appendix, they exist for a reason, right? They exist because they must have a function of some kind. It's not like, I don't believe in evolution myself, but like, whatever, we're not here to talk about that. But I think everything is there for a very specific purpose. And if they're changing around, I don't think those changes are just willy-nilly or random. Again, there is a reason why the kidneys have moved up and they're like behind your back, like rib cage, where
Yeah.
it's more protected now. Because, like in boxing, they talked about it, like the kidney shot. And,
The kidney
it's
shot,
like
even more
lower,
obviously. Yeah.
the lower back. Your
Yeah.
lower back, that was the kidney shot. It's no longer there anymore. It's like protected behind a rib, on your back now. That's where your kidneys are.
Yeah. Crazy.
And
Yeah,
these
man,
animals
it's
changes too. The manned animals, I think there's something that's going on that is kind of maybe like some kind of frequency stuff where it's actually unfolding or folding of the DNA that's causing these animals to like literally change, like in real time, just like our body has changed in real time, or you can come from another perspective that, maybe this is the body that it always existed and you have transported to these bodies. That's another idea, but I don't really subscribe to that as much.
Yeah, I actually do. That's the one that I resonate with.
Okay, that's
Because,
cool.
well, just because of the tooth one and the gas tank of the truck and multiple other ones, examples that I couldn't bring up right now, but yeah, it's just too I don't know, man. Like you were saying that you don't subscribe to alternate timelines, but that's not exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking more or less just like literally other dimensions. Like it doesn't, let's say it wouldn't relate to time travel. It's like just the fact that there's
Yeah,
other realities that exist, simultaneously at the same time as ours, right? Like,
Well, there's
yeah,
definitely other dimensions, and
well,
what happens in those is starting to bleed over, I think, into
well,
ours.
something
hmm
like that. Or, guys, remember seeing the movie with Jet Li, The One,
yeah, yeah.
where
I
he
remember the
would
movie.
It's
travel
kind of like
from,
the Highlander type of idea, right?
yeah, where he would
There can
travel
be only
from,
one.
yeah, exactly. It was kind of
You
the
know they
Highlander idea.
call Trump the Highlander or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh god.
Well, hey, gentlemen, not to disrupt the party, but I'm going to have to peel off. But it's been very
Later,
fun,
RT.
very fun, conversation. Thank you, OTW and Natch and Christos and Tommy.
Hey.
You guys have a good rest of the evening,
Peace,
and
RT. Thanks for coming,
we'll
man.
see
It
you
was a great
soon.
conversation. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
a
awesome.
lot of
Yep.
fun. Take care,
Take care,
guys.
buddy.
Later.
Have a good one.
Peace. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, I'm not going to poo-poo any other idea. I really don't know what's going on. It's just like there's things that we resonate with, in terms of like what we like. I'm not sure if this is solvable. I mean, like people talk about the simulation theory being a plausible ideal as well, and that's why there's like kind of an editing of this reality, like the glitch in the matrix type of deal. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
They shove it
I'm gonna
down our
put
throats.
they do, they do.
Yeah, time travel, simulation theory, multiverse. I mean, all of it in the last decade. You know,
Yeah.
but that's the kind of world they want. That's what it's like
That's
they
what I
put all
mean.
it's like they put all this stuff out there to make it manifest. Happen. I mean, it's their plans, and of course the Bible. They also they have attached themselves to the script. Everything's scripted, and they're the ones making Bible prophecy come true. At least now, so yeah, all we got to do is all of us that are awake need to stand up peacefully and break up the house of cards and say, look, the gig is up, and pull back the curtain, because the elite are running this Truman Show we're in, or whatever.
Yeah, tell me about it. I think it's more than just the Truman Show. It's even more insane than that. I think I
Yeah.
remember watching one of them Netflix series where it's called Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, that's a
And
good one.
yeah, in one of them, they're on a spaceship and they go like they space travel, but something
Yeah.
happens, but they don't know what's going on. It's kind of like in a 3D cartoonish kind of, I think, or is it real?
Yep.
No, hold on a second, I can't remember. Well, anyway, you know how they are. So, so the synopsis is they go out into outer space and something happens and boom, like the lights go out and everything, and then they wake up, and then they're inside like kind of like a time loop, right, where they start asking themselves questions: where the hell are we?
Mm-hmm,
And eventually like they discover who they are, and like then the lights go out and it resets again, and then it's like it starts over. But at the end of that that show, whatever, it's this spider woman, all right, or a
yeah. Yeah.
spider creature, who is actually like injecting or making them hallucinate that reality
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
she's feeding off of them in actual reality, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. I
it's like
remember that.
insane way of seeing how things are, right? So it's like, what if what if that's what we are? We're all in a pod somewhere, fucking being fed off of, and we're being injected this reality to have us believe that this is real, but in fact
How
it's
would you
not.
know?
I always say that no matter what, the creator is
Hypothesis.
in charge of it. But yeah, it would be fascinating if the elite have gone that far to hijack humanity, and we were real, but then, like you said, or like you're saying, we were put, eventually just pods, and all this is their Truman Show that they're running on top of God's
Yeah.
creation. Yeah.
Since
I mean, you have to.
2012, right? When
So you have
when it
you.
was the end of the world in 2012, it was actually the end of the world.
Right.
And
It
now,
could be. It
there
could
you go.
be.
But nobody
Yeah.
realized it. Like we were all
Well,
there waiting for it, but it didn't happen. But it actually did happen. But we never were. It's like,
Well,
I
see,
don't know how to explain it.
they're setting up the world for that, to where when there is a reset, they think they're going to live on forever in their computers and robots or whatever.
yeah.
So they know a reset is coming. There will be a new heaven, a new earth. At some point. I think 2030 is the time where the climax is coming around that time.
Yeah. Okay. Like, so my whole belief about this is that, okay, I don't know about the rest of you guys. I know Tommy, but like I believe in the creator as well. So the creator is all powerful. He is in control. Yet we also have to admit to the fact that there is evil in this world, right? We talk about they and them and shit like that.
And we have free will to be evil. Sorry.
Yeah. And what I have to believe at this point is that God is allowing them to do whatever that they're doing. Like God can stop it anytime he wants, but he is allowing them to do whatever. He is allowing the Mandela effect to occur. Okay. But here's the thing. I don't think Mandela effect is just one-sided. Like, like EYA is like, look at what the demons are doing. Look at what but I think when I look at the Mandela effect, sometimes I think, whoa, there's some actually positive messages are there. I think there's actually messages that are of like trying to like warn us or protect us or give us clues about those guys and what they're doing. So I cannot think it's completely evil. I think the bad guys are probably contributing to it, but I think the good guys are also contributing to it. And how you, as individuals, interpret that message is also going to play a role. Like we are actively co-creating this reality. I see that happening. That's how I see it. Like our thoughts, our vibrations, these conversations, they are actually like creating a wave. And whether it's 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people who end up listening to these conversations, they get a whiff of that, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's what I hope for, is that anybody that has common sense, and eyes to see and ears to hear, through the elite's BS, should stand up and say, hey, the gig is up, and no more NASA, no more lies, no more government, and we need to start over. We need to make all the world's governments dissolve and just start over, for better or for worse, because if we allow them to keep on the path they're on, this is not going to be a place where we want to be, and
Yeah.
I mean, what we're going to only have ourselves to blame for not trying to do something. And I'm not calling for a bloody revolution. I'm calling for a peaceful revolution, because that's all it really would take, is for people to wake up.
People just need to wake up.
The gig's up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm in agreement with you, and we don't want that. And like if enough people woke up, no bullets need to be fired. Not one.
That's right.
Not one.
Yeah, I'm not preparing for a war with them. I mean, and I don't want a war with anybody, but I definitely don't want to live in the world that they're creating past 2030. It's just not. Not in my car. I don't want anything to do with it.
Well, yeah, and we talked about this before, and in my personal opinion, that we're in the pre-tribulation period right now, and we're still going to have probably maybe a year and a half, 2 years more before, maybe up until like Trump gets elected, to be in that pre-tribulation. But at some point, I tell you guys,
the climax is coming.
Yeah, I tell you guys, all this stuff that's been happening, including the jab, as we know, it wasn't all willy-nilly. It was deliberate, and it's been planned, for a very long time. And a lot of people have woken up to it, but as many people who are waking up to it, just as many people, if not more, who are falling deeper into sleep. They're doubling down, tripling down into their stupidity.
What? But God knew that they were going to do that, though, and He knows that we're going to always stand up and resist the beast system, and try and help
people. All the Mandela affected people, all right, and the people who woke up to flat Earth. All these people are I'm not going to say for a fact that's the truth, but I would say at least 99.5% of all those people are unjabbed. Okay,
it's 420 somewhere. Sorry.
So, guys, think about it, man. Like, and maybe people with like a lot of critical thinking, and not necessarily Mandela affected or believe in the flat Earth. There are other people that don't subscribe to it.
Sure.
But I mean, would I have followed the narrative if I wasn't awakened, if I didn't go through that process with the Mandela effect and flat Earth and all that?
No.
Would I? That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I was
what's
red.
important is you are here now.
I was
That's what's
red pilled in
important.
1994, but I didn't ask anybody to red pill me. My girlfriend's dad sat us down, me and my girlfriend and her brother, and told us everything about the New World Order, which I'd never even heard that term before that day, in 1994, in the spring of 1994, and we were blown away when he told us, all of this stuff that, because he worked for the government and had top secret clearance, and he was in the know, and so we started from that day forward, telling people down with the New World Order and telling people all their plans, that have come true ever since, then. And I mean, man, it's crazy. I could have just been an NPC, but I guess I was chosen to be red pilled like that, to where it would change my life forever. I mean, that day changed me to the core, and I was already, I was born into a fundamentalist, family and church and all that, which is, strict Bible believing, deal. But anyway, I just, shortly after that day, I rededicated myself to God and to, Yeshua, and I moved back to my hometown and helped build a church, and I took life a lot more serious, and I just kept spreading the truth that as I know it, from that point on, I've been the crazy brother, son, father, neighbor, friend. Everybody has called me crazy, but in the last couple years, those same people have come back and said, we really thought you were crazy, Tommy, but now we see what's unfolding. We see that, there is a one world order agenda, and it's being implemented, Yeah. All right. There's my little deal.
Yeah, and you know what? This whole fiasco, all right, talking about the jibby jabby, whatever, right, was for me like the all right, they're in panic mode. They have to. There's something wrong with people. Too many people are waking up too fast. The information is growing too quickly, and we need to slow this down and regain control. I believe they were losing control of something somewhere. There was something happening, and they had to do something to put everybody back into the state of fear, where they can regain control. And I don't I don't even know what the percentage is of the people who took it or not, but
yeah, don't they claim like 70 or something? I don't know how what is it now? We should probably look it up. But
worldwide,
even their numbers,
Well,
you can't trust. Yeah,
we can't trust those numbers,
Mhm.
but I think there's definitely majority of the people, more people who have gotten the jab than not. That's just from my
unfortunately.
perspective. But here's the thing, I'm in agreement with you guys, Patrick, like you're saying, like, maybe they're in a panic mode. Here's the thing, like, think about it in a long-term way, like the people who, not the people, but the entities who were involved with the predictive programming throughout history. Like even if you look at the flat Earth cosmology, like these people began that a long time ago. Like they were like preparing the way, and they just injected this idea, and they did it deliberately, knowing it's a lie. It's not like we discovered the flat Earth. Flat Earth was always here.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, but
always here.
I've told it many times that I believe that 90% or more of the people on Earth knew it was flat and stationary until the
Of
globe
course they
life
did.
began. And I've done my research. I've looked, and there are real stories that are hundreds of years old that people literally threw their Bibles overboard because they couldn't trust the Bible anymore once they believed the globe lies, and because the Bible alludes to a flat and stationary Earth. They literally threw their Bibles over the. I mean, is that like taking the mark of the beast, or just buying the into it? It's just unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. You're completely, a hoodwinked at that point. But my point is this, is that if we're dealing with archons or entities, like the devil and the demons and stuff like this, they live much longer than we do. We don't know what their like time span is. And so they could have, influenced events throughout history to bring us to where we are now. Now, here's another important factor to all of this. They are drilling in every sector, which I'm talking about in terms of like propaganda. And so they're doing everything they can through propaganda to pressure you, to give you a certain perception of this reality. And if they already had everything in control, then they wouldn't be doing this propaganda stuff. There's no need. There wouldn't be no need. There wouldn't be any need to do it. So what it means is that they're heavily reliant on all these tactics to keep people in line, gaslighting them or peer pressuring them, or, you name it, or get the consensus, whatever, advertisement them up, whatever, bribing them. They're using every tactic under the sun to get people on their side of the fence. Now, as far as prophecy is concerned, basically people are going to be given a choice, and people have to volunteer either yes or no. Are you going to take the mark of the beast or not? The people who are waking up, they're going to say, I don't give a fuck. You take my body. You can beat me. You can drag me. You can do whatever the fuck you want, but I know what it is, and I'm never going to betray myself nor God. And that's where we have to be. That's where everybody has to be. And if you're not sure about it, then go and do the research and do whatever you need to do to be sure, because otherwise, in my mind, you are likely to betray somebody. Because you've already betrayed yourself. I mean, like somebody else near you is bound to happen. So, so that's all.
Well put.
It's funny, but I resonate with what you just said, and just thinking about it is, yeah, man. I think the only thing I do trust is God. When it comes down to it,
yeah. I mean, there's no.
I don't
don't
even
trust in any
the reality.
man.
Yeah, I don't even trust the reality that I'm in. It's like it's.
How can you?
Like,
it's shifty as fuck.
So what is there left to rely upon? Nothing except God. You gotta,
Yep.
that's like the only thing you really can rely on, because if nothing else
Well,
is
that's
real,
faith.
exactly, it's faith, man. Well, it's
Yeah.
even more than faith. It's like almost knowing. It's like it's literally telling you, okay, well, I'm here. People, don't worry about it. I've got it. Just hang on. The ride's gonna be bumpy, but don't worry about it. I'm there, and I got things under control. This is what it feels like.
Well, I mean, like it's important for people to, like, here, like even here, there's just the four of us, and there's few people in the chat, and that's great, but like it's important for people to be able to connect with other people. And I've used this kind of analogy before. Like, imagine you grew up in rural America somewhere, small town, in the 1950s, and you knew the Bible really well, right? And you saw the changes that was happening in the Bible. Would you dare even to bring that up to your pastor in your local church, with a couple hundred people there? Most people, 99.9% of the people, probably would just like hold it to and keep it to themselves. The internet and other people like Brian and other people who are like talking about it, like, helps people to connect and relate and be able to have these kind of discussions openly, and to like remind ourselves that we're not the ones who are fucked up. We're not the ones who are crazy. Okay, Like we know exactly what's happening, and maybe not exactly why. Ultimately, the why is that there is God, and God has all complete control over everything. That's the why. But like individually, would you be able to get there? Like it's really helpful to have other people who's walking the path, actually. So you're not completely alone. So actually the reality is we're not that strong, is what I'm getting at. Like I think of myself like I'm very independent. I'm practically living as a hermit, but like connecting with people on the internet is a very big deal to me. That's where I can start to relate to people who are nearer to the way I think about this reality than anybody else, most everybody else in my physical reality. And that's the truth of the matter. Like people I talk to on the internet are closer to me than my own family. My family are very far from me in terms of the like beliefs and, understanding of what's going on. Very far. Like practically the opposite.
Yeah. Do I know what the hell you're talking about, bro?
Most people do, not just you. I mean, it's relatable for most of us. That's the thing. We're right on the fringe of things, and that doesn't
Dude, but I'm
necessarily make us
also
quote unquote special or better in any way.
yeah, but I'm also at a point in my life where I also can't I can't stand people in a sense. Like it's like as if it's like I'm not living on the same planet as they are. It's like I'm an alien or something, and I'm with a bunch of fucking people who don't understand what's going on, and it's just to me it's kind of it's like being in a bubble. It feels
Right.
lonely. Yeah,
I
yeah,
hear
it
you,
feels
man. And
yeah, it feels lonely.
that's why it's important to have these type of conversations and be able to relate to people and be able to, just um, share our thoughts and ideas and theories and stuff like this, because it's actually what's going through our minds, you know?
Well, I'm happy to be able to have these conversations because it makes me at least not feel insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, I'm not the only one. There's a multitude of people who think like, are like-minded and have the same experiences. So I'm not crazy, or all of us are crazy. That's like we're a certain percentage of the population that are all insane.
We're
It's like,
not. We're not crazy, and we're quite sane. And if people think that we're crazy, whatever. Like I'm okay with people thinking that I'm stupid or retarded or crazy, and they have the upper hand on things. Great, that's fine. That's on them. I mean, like ultimately, people are going to have to make a choice in this world. Either you're going to be on this side or that side, and there's no two ways about it. I'm afraid you can't have your cake and eat it. I'm afraid.
yeah, I think you're right. You can't have two masters.
You
I
cannot have
guess
two masters.
yeah, it's like you can be in the world but not of it. So that's the only permission I think you have until D-Day. I guess I don't know.
I mean,
When
that's what spirituality is to be able to recognize it and to accept that. And ultimately, really, like you have to surrender, like that there is a force that's greater than you. That's what God is about to me, right? And so
well, I
but
think
still it's
that's
hard.
where that's where lies the killing of the ego. Because you remember, like I don't want to go. I don't know if you've been through a spiritual awakening or not, but when I went through that spiritual awakening, it humbled me to the point where I would no longer resonate with my ego. But that only lasted for a certain thing. It's like I do realize that your ego is a part of you, right? And it's something that you have
Mm-hmm.
to be in harmony with. Um, but but you do have to go to that humbling, because I think that's what they call the being a reborn Christian. And
Mm-hmm.
I kept learning because I was like a kind of a Bible thumper at school.
Mm-hmm.
I went to church and shit like that. And what was I gonna say? well, anyway, I believed a lot in in Jesus and all that, you know, in the
Mm.
Bible and everything. So, but what was my point, man? I fucking lost track of what I was gonna say. Damn it! I hate it when that happens. Too much weed, guys. It's been a long day. I worked all day, but there was a point to this, though.
Well, I mean, like we're talking about faith, and we're talking about like ultimately you have to make a choice, and it's the growing process, and then you're talking about the ego death, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. So that's the humbling process. Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
it's that part where you actually experience the fear of God. Because I think that's what happened to
Hmm.
me. When I had that event happen, when I started freaking out, and I was losing it, and I was crying on my knees praying to
Mm.
God, and for the first time I had realized that how powerful God really was, because in my mind that was
Right.
he was the only being powerful enough to change reality.
Hmm.
And beforehand I had never really realized how powerful a being God could be. Like I never even had an idea, but that humbled me, man. As a as
Hmm.
as a puny human being, that doesn't have that power, that cannot change things like that, and like it's like he could snap his fingers and I'd be gone in a second. So this is
Yeah,
like
you'll be obliterated, like
yeah,
just
yeah,
completely
exactly.
pulverized.
Yeah, in within an instant. And this is the realization of that part where you actually accept the fear of God. But you don't, God doesn't want you any harm. He loves you. It's like there's no bad part, but he does want you to realize how powerful he is, but that he doesn't want to use it
Well,
for bad. Well, anyway, my
yeah.
opinion, because I never got any
No,
feeling that he wanted to cause me harm or wanted me to suffer, but more or less I had the impression that he had his hand over me and was protecting me.
well, you
You
have the
know what I
power
mean?
not to suffer. Yeah, I mean, like I think it's like that's where kind of like the individual will and perhaps like the ability to go in a certain direction. I mean, you can start drinking or doing all kinds of drugs and go in a different direction, and you can start doing all kinds of heinous stuff. I mean, like as people could do, but part of that is being aware and how you impact this world and being mindful about your thoughts and your intentions and the words that you choose, etc. They all are interconnected, but for me, just from my perspective, God is not in need of anything. God is love. But He doesn't necessarily like if you want to have a relationship with God, He's always going to be open to it. But if you don't want to have a relationship with God, God's not going to get pissed at you, or He doesn't need. Like He's like, okay, that's your loss, that's your loss. But I gave you the freedom to turn your back on me if you want. That's kind of the way like I kind of see God, like reacting, you can say. So, like, I think um, ultimately people are going to come to that point where they're going to experience death of some kind, right? Like, and so, like, these ego deaths that people are lucky enough to experience gives them a little bit of preparation of the ultimate letting go of things, because we are all identified as quote unquote individuals, one way or another, but at the ultimate let go of it is that even this has to change, you know?
That's the ultimate reality of things, man. It's the fact that there's things you just can't avoid. Unless if death is an illusion as well, right? Like the rest of everything, it's like all a lie,
Yes and
and maybe
no.
death is a lie too.
Yes and no. I mean, the physical death, without a doubt, is going to happen. Like that's just part of this reality. However, if if you identify with that which is forever, which like being closer to God or being next to God, You know, I'm not talking about being God, but like, you know, being close to God. I mean, that is in touch of infinity, you know? So that, like, if you, that is like, for me, you know, that's another perspective of the matter. It's just like getting there, and you know how one gets there. Now, like nowadays, like for example, like yes, I accept the fact that I have a body. So there's like, you know, things that needs to be done, and it needs to be like fed. It needs to, you know, it's just like having a car. You know, you have to maintain the car. You have to make sure everything's running. You have to oil things up. You have to fuel it up, and the car gives you the ability to go from point A to B. It's a great, you know, instrument, right? What is that that you're showing us,
Some
Tommy? Is that
weed.
weed? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
weed?
weed.
Okay. So, I
Pot.
mean, this body is a vehicle. This mind, you know, it's a like a computer, like quantum computer. You know, it's an amazing instrument, right? And people can utilize it to like really a high degree of it. You know, we're not really fully unlocking the powers of our minds and our bodies, really. You know, so and God has already given us all those tools. You just have to tap into it,
I
in my
think that
opinion.
they knew that pot would help people, see through the bull crap too, and that's why they demonized it for so long. I mean, other drugs too, but I don't promote doing other things. I had somebody tell me the other day that, oh, meth is okay if you just eat it. I was like, no, 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 no. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
but
man.
what do you think that the you know, this recent resurgence of the legalization of marijuana? Like, do you think there's anything,
Well, that's
any
probably.
kind of a
I mean, that's just the people pushing back because just like the alcohol, people only went so long before they started taking measures into their own hands and making their own alcohol and distribute it and everything. So they didn't want people 20 years ago. Starting to grow their own weed where they already were, but they saw it getting out of
right?
hand, so they had to legalize it. Because people were saying we want it legal now.
Yeah, maybe I kind of was thinking about another possibility that, you know, they knew perhaps that the times were going to be tough. You know, I'm talking about the global elites, and they needed people, like especially with the whole lockdown situation and such. Um, they kind of needed people to be able to keep their sanity, and you know, alcohol makes people violent. You know, like a lot of domestic violence and other type of violence is heavily involved with alcohol, right? But weed, you know, makes you. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't maybe 100% use the word docile, but you know, it gives you relaxation. It helps you to relax. It helps you to kind of chill out. You know, you're very agreeable. You know, like it's whatever. So um, I just wonder if there's some kind of an agenda that they were thinking about, you know, like giving people, like, you know, weed. Like, I love weed and all that stuff. It's just that, like, I wonder if there's any kind of intention behind, um, you know, pushing that or allowing that to be legal, you know, and be utilized for what it is now. Just curious.
Yes, because Monsatan is probably going to screw it up in the end for all of us pot smokers, and so we'll have to get organic seeds, and grow our own, which there are allowing people to grow their own, like in Virginia. Uh, so I mean, it's up to you to get the right seeds to grow. Something
Hmm.
that Monsanto doesn't have their hands on. Because I mean, who knows how much damage they can do if Monsanto gets their wish. Monsanto gets their wish, and they have control of all of the marijuana. Or they've
Well,
hybrid changed it or whatever. They want their hands on all of it. At least
yeah, well,
the bulk of
Tommy,
it.
just think about it. Here in Canada, it's legal, right?
Yeah.
But we have
Yeah.
special vendors, like the alcohol vendors here. Okay, so it's called here in Canada. It's called well, in Quebec, it's called the SAQ, Société d'Alcool du Québec. right? That's for selling alcohol.
Mhm.
And then you have the SQDC, which is for selling weed, right? So it's not legal for us to sell weed here, right? We can't sell
Mhm.
weed. We can
You can share
consume
it.
it. Okay, we could share
You
it, give
have to
it,
be
smoke it.
a dispensary, right? You have to be like a
Exactly. You
legal.
have to have a license. Yeah, exactly. You
Mm.
have to be declared, and everything. But you know what I think is that whatever they have and they sell in those stores is not actually real weed.
Well, I have a buddy that
It's
that
like a,
um
it's like
that
spice.
When I
says the exact
smoke
same
it,
thing, man. Yeah,
when
I
I
mean,
smoke,
people believe
dude,
that.
I
I don't.
smoke outdoors. I've been smoking outdoors all my life because I grow it I've always been doing my own thing, and I've always been buying from guys who grow, or I've always had a close contact, or direct contact.
Hmm.
So it has a certain taste to it. It has a certain thing to it. And when I go to that dispensary or that store, and I get, let's say, because I can't get a hold of one of my guys, I go there, I grab one of them 3 grams or whatever, come back and smoke it, and it just any kind. They all have that thing where it's like in my opinion, it looks like weed, it smells like weed, it almost tastes like weed, but it's not weed, man. It's just like, I don't know.
Because it's like spice, man. It's probably like spice, this like laboratory grown shit. You guys
It's
know
like a
spice,
herb
right?
or something.
Yeah, well, Spice takes it. They take it a step further with that Spice stuff because it's mostly like a potpourri, and it's whatever they spray on it that gets these people the way they
Right.
are. Because I unfortunately had dealt with somebody, an ex girlfriend that was into that crap, and yeah, it is bad news when it's sprayed.
It's
Now,
like
who first started
bath saw
around
shit.
here? Yeah, the first people that got on Spice here were the Navy sailors like 20 years ago. That this stuff, it was advertised in high time magazines, synthetic pot, basically. And
There you
so
go.
but then like I said, these people, individual dealers, take it a step further and they spray some kind of crap on there that they know will get people high and whatever, want them to come back for more. And that's what makes it even worse than it already probably is. But yeah, Spice is bad news any way you get it.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just kind of a little bit, I don't know, wary of any kind of addictions of any kind, whether it be coffee, or marijuana. And I understand, like, people are in need of it. I smoke sometimes here and there, but like, I live in a different environment. Like, I live in northern India, and people have access to plants, and they're different. They're not like genetically altered. I mean, these are like, plants that are grown out in the woods and stuff like this. They're just there, so they're not hydroponic. The THC content in there is like much lower than probably what you guys are used to. I mean, the ones I grew up in Wisconsin, man. We had like dank outdoors. We had access to pretty decent stuff, higher THC content, and you smoke something that is like pretty good. I mean, like, man, it will take you. You know, it's not really like that over here. But what I'm getting at is that, like, we just have to be careful of any kind of addictions, whether it be sugar or caffeine, right? Or like marijuana, even, alcohol, of course, tobacco, any of those kind of things,
Yeah, I haven't had caffeine in over 15 years, and I quit eating beef at that time too. I mean, they wanted me to be a
Hmm.
vegetarian, but I said I don't think I can go vegetarian. But now I'm a chickatarian. But I definitely
Hmm.
I see the benefits in limiting everything that we probably could do without, and I mean, but what fun would that be? But yeah, I don't drink alcohol. Maybe one or two, like once or twice a year. Like when Brian and them came into town.
Right.
I had a couple, but I've still got beer in my fridge from when they were here that I wish wasn't even in there. But it's there. So.
Right.
It's funny. I'm kind of like the same
But
way.
now
I
listen,
don't
now
drink alcohol either.
marijuana is the only medicine drug I use at all, and I was on dozens of pills every day because they say I have multiple sclerosis.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I told them they could take all of that and shove it. So I mean, I'm come a long ways from from where what they had me on, and so but
Oh,
I
100%.
I
Like,
mean, I don't know if I can get to what you would say, is ideal, all the stuff you were saying, I mean, I do consume sugar every day, and, I don't smoke,
it's fine.
tobacco, but,
Like nobody's
I have
judging
a
you,
few,
Tommy.
yeah. Well, I know, but I'm just saying, but yeah, ideally, sure, I would love to be,
Like
as
it's much. I'd
healthy as
rather
we
you
could.
smoke pot every day, all day, every day, than get put you on pharmaceutical
Yeah,
stuff.
thank you for that. Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, me too.
Like seriously. Like I
Yeah.
mean, like it's a no-brainer for me. You know. But I'm just saying, like, just be mindful of all these things that are happening out there, and nothing's happening for no reason, And I have just in the back of my mind about,
Yeah.
as to why. Okay, go ahead.
Well, all right. Well, obviously, hey, man, I'm too high to go out and protest or tell the government to, shove it. I mean, man, that's part of it too, probably, man. I mean, they're trying to keep us chill, keep us happy, so that we don't uprise. I think that's definitely a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of deal. Like, I mean, like we talked about this before. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, are we gonna go actually rise up against the U.S. Army or something like this? I mean, that's not a realistic.
Well, see, they're
Like,
not going to shoot us all. They would. I mean, I really doubt that if everybody stood up and said we declare war against you, they still wouldn't kill us. But if we all stood up, all of us with common sense, not COVID sense. Oh, sorry. They,
yeah,
then they would have no choice but to surrender or
yeah,
dissolve. Because it's just too many
but
people.
but the key words there are if, and if
Yeah.
we all did this, like those. So,
Well,
like again,
that's why they keep us beat down. That's why they keep us living check to check, where we don't have time to focus on, making a plan to get them
I agree.
out of control or get, so yeah, that's the big thing is that's all these agendas, all these weapons are using against us to, to keep us down and out.
I don't care about them. I have no consideration. Why? Because at the end of the day, each one of us are responsible for our own lives and not anybody else's.
That's right.
As long as we're fucking waking up, as long as you're doing the due diligence and putting in the work that you must, to be aware.
But we naturally want to share that with others. We don't want to see people deceived, and so we're,
I
no
agree.
matter if we're talking to a brick wall 99% of the time, we're still going to go out there and talk to people and tell them what's up, how they're being deceived.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, I'm passionate about telling people what's up. I mean, you know me. I mean, I'm okay with that. It's not a problem. It's just that when people get this feelings about like me wanting to convince them of anything, no, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I believe, and that's all. And then everybody else, they're responsible for themselves at the end of the day. And so like I know there's going to be a demarcation point. There's a line, right? You're going to be on either on that side of the fence or this side, and like it's going to be really clear. You either going to accept the mark or you don't. Really, what it comes down to, you know what I mean? Like that already tells me enough about the individual. Like and they want to drag you to the point where you're like you're feeling like, oh my god, I don't have any choice but to. They would love you to be in that position where you have quote unquote no choice, but that no choice, is of your own, mind. That is something like God has always given you a choice. They want to see what you are made of. Maybe I mean, not they, but like he wants to see what you're made of, and that's why these difficult choices are there for you. But you always have a choice.
Yeah, but it's funny because
exactly.
for me, that was an easy choice. It was like it didn't even take 2 seconds for me to go like, no way, I'm not going for that.
Good.
So
Then it's
it
easy.
wasn't even something I had
Then
to
it's easy.
to
If
fucking
it's
think
easy,
about.
it's easy.
Yeah.
That's great. So, but that's the final battle. I mean, they're already, making propaganda. I mean, like there's 10 stages to a genocide. We're up like on the 7th stage right now. Like soon it's going to be extermination and stuff like this. But it's like boiling a frog. You don't just go and try to like herd cats right off the bat. You got to weaken people. That's why you go after the old, and then you go after the young, because who are the strongest people? You like stubborn ass motherfuckers like myself and other people who have nothing to lose. Like we're the most dangerous people out there. We have nothing to lose
The,
and don't give a fuck.
See, most people think that the government fears other governments, other armies, and all this stuff. But the
No.
only ones they fear, and this is all the way to the top, all the elite, they only fear people exactly like us that see through their BS and will never accept or buy into their stuff. I mean, that to them scares them to death, because that's a real enemy that wants them to stop what they're doing. I want to put them in prison for life. I mean, and I'm sure other people want just to, see them go bye forever. Another way. But I mean, I'm not trying. I don't. Like I said, I'm not looking for a war with anybody, but I definitely see that something has to be done. You can't do nothing just because you don't want a war.
Right.
And I mean, we have to come up with a solution, and and make it happen. I think it's going to happen. I mean, even if
Of
we
course
don't,
it will.
yeah, I mean, because evil's not going to win in the end. But how bad
No.
is it? How bad is it going to get before
But we can't live
before
in
it is over?
fear.
We
I mean,
don't.
that's
We don't. But we almost live in fear of what what everybody else is going to go through. It's like, yeah, we don't give a shit. I mean, I somebody could kill me today, and I'm fine with that. I've had a hell of a ride already, So I mean, I really
right.
don't want to live in this world much longer anyway. But I'm still willing to stand up for what's right, stand up
Yeah.
against evil and tyranny. And I just wish that people would do that. I mean, you can leave your guns at
Oh
home,
yeah.
and just if enough people, good people, stand up and say, we're done with the politics, we're done with you all your plans for
It's a pipe
2030.
dream though. That's what I'm getting at. Like I have no
It must not
I
be, though. It must not be, because even the Bible, which they're using as their playbook, shows that they fell in the end, and they know that too.
they
But
do.
they're enjoying the ride. They're like, fuck it, even if we're gonna go to hell, we're gonna have fun all the way, and
Okay. So like let's just think through this real quick, okay? So you're on the side of God. God has already won. God has already won. They're not going to win in the end. Now, who gets to decide how far you get to play this game? It's certainly not me. God gets to decide how long I'm going to be useful in this world or not. If God takes me tomorrow, so be it. A meteor comes and hits me, so be it. Whatever. But that's not up to me. You know what I mean? So, like, we got to get rid of this idea.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. There's a meteorite heading for India at this moment. It's at top speed, going to hit in 3, 2, 1.
No.
Bye, Nachiketa.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's not, within my power, but what is in my power is that whatever that is given to me, because it can all be taken away. Everything can be taken away because it was never mine to begin with. We're on borrowed time. We're on borrowed bodies, and we're like basically living on fumes, whatever. You know what I mean? So we do the best that we can individually, come to some understanding, the best that we can with what we got. Yeah, maybe some of us will make it, because like, I mean, there is going to be fruitful, abundant world that's going to exist. But, until we get to that point, because like we know all kinds of really messed up stuff that's happening in the world. And we should probably understand now, just because like we're in pre-tribulations now, like, you know, it's going to be good a little bit and then it gets fucking bad. Okay, I want people to prepare themselves for those things though too. Like, prepare for the worst. Don't we always say that? Prepare
Yeah,
yourself for the worst.
prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and try and
Exactly.
manifest the best. You can, yeah.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
I
like,
was a Boy Scout. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with being prepared and then, you know, trying not just sitting on your hands and watching it all go by, but participate and try and, make sure that the best happens. That's why I'm
right.
having this conversation. We're having this conversation because, you know, we care enough and we are willing to, you know, do what it takes to change this world. You know, I mean,
Yep.
that's the thing. See, the biggest thing about all this is they know exactly what they're doing by beating us all down and getting us to where we're living paycheck to paycheck, all that stuff. You know, so that Braylon, please. Sorry, my grandson is
It's okay.
one sitting there with his $500 cell phone, and he's not happy. Or he wouldn't have a cell phone if it was up to me, but his parents allow him to have a cell phone at 3 years old. Isn't that nice? Love
Yeah,
it.
well,
All right.
it's probably
I gotta.
you know,
Hold on,
I've been
I'll be
through
back.
that. My grandson also has a phone, and he freaks out too when he's something's going on, like he's dead or in his game or something, and he's timed out. I don't know. He freaks out and it's not working. He freaks out. Yeah,
Right.
I know the
Yeah.
feeling. I know exactly what it's like.
So yeah, I mean, you know, strap yourself down, you know, and make sure the seatbelt's on, and you know, we're on a roller coaster ride of a lifetime, of a millennia. You know, this is unprecedented times that we're living in. You know, and it's a great blessing to be alive now, even though difficulties are there. It's a big blessing in my mind to be able to witness all that's happening. I'm so grateful that you know, the Mandela effect is real. I'm so grateful, right? The Earth is flat. I'm so grateful that God is more real than anything else in this world. I'm grateful for those things because without these experiences, like, you know, I woke up to the flat Earth first, and then the Mandela effect. But then the flat Earth helped me to establish stronger faith with God than before. You know, because like then I understood that things were designed by a designer, right? Somebody created all this. Things are working like, you know, pretty well together. And then the Mandela effect showed me that there is miracles in life. The things that I never thought was possible is not only possible, but it is happening. It is genuinely happening, you know? So those things help me to, uh, you know, and I don't take it lightly, even though I kind of shrug my shoulders nowadays a little bit more than before when I see a new Mandela effect change. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty strange. But like before, my mind was blown. Like years ago, it was just like, oh my God, gaping jaw, you know, just like not figuring it out. But now, you know, it's just like I understand it's just part and parcel of the system that we have found ourselves in. This is
I
part of
still
God's
go like
creation.
no way. I still
Yeah, yeah,
I still do that. No, I still
great.
react pretty good though to new Mandelas, honestly, or ones that I've never heard of.
But how long have you been Mandela affected, Patrick?
I think we're going on 6 years now.
You've been Mandela effect for 6 years? Holy shit, that's longer than me.
Yeah,
I've been
I
dealing
was
with the
40.
Mandela effect for oh man,
Since 2017?
Yeah,
Yeah, same.
2017.
6 years, I'd say.
Wow.
October.
Okay.
I could tell you the third week of October, I think, or something like that. Or yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's just a year ahead of me. You know, so
yeah. Well, I was dealing with it before I had a name too. You know, some of us were.
okay. So,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. I mean, like,
I mean, not just the Berenstein beers, but like individual, like personal ones. It's weird how many of us have personal ones we were dealing with before we knew anything about the Mandela effect. Yeah, I find that fascinating. But I also really find it fascinating seriously, how many of us have had a near-death experience, and then the Mandela effect, manifested in our lives? I mean,
That was my first real wake up for me, like having a near death experience, like when I was
yeah.
in high school. I mean,
And
like
I didn't even
that
know
just,
until the other night that Brian had one too. He had a car accident that he was ejected out of. I mean, I mean, that's for me. It
wow.
was two different
I,
car accidents,
I
but
had
or
same here. I had one where I had my whole arm ripped right out of its socket, man. You almost had to
I
like
Wow.
detached my left hand. This hand's been detached and put back on. Yeah,
yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, my whole right arm completely ripped out. Like, well, except like what was keeping it together was the skin.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the one
Actually,
Wow.
that's funny because in mine, see, my hand got caught in the steering wheel when I went through the windshield, and it did. There was no bone between the hand and the wrist, but there was skin and like blood vessels, little tissue, that was holding my hand on, but it was just hanging down.
crazy.
Hang on.
Yeah, I know what it's
Crazy.
like.
Yeah.
My arm was the tip of my fingers were touching my ankle. That's how
Oh
fucked
my
up that was.
God.
Yeah,
What? That's
yeah.
fucked up, man. That's
My skin
holy
stretched out,
shit.
man. My arm was free. When I picked my arm up, it was so heavy, man. I never thought that your arm, when it's not attached to your body, that it was so heavy. But
Wow.
it weighs a
Crazy.
ton, man. So I had to grab my arm with my other arm and pull it up and like kind of hold it onto my body, and
Wow.
it was just crazy, man. It was
Because of a
insane.
car accident?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
what happened?
I was holding on to the chicken bars, and somebody I wasn't driving. I was actually sitting in the back seat, and the person who was driving lost control of the car and we hit the cement wall at 100 kilometers an hour. So,
Fuck.
but I knew we were going to hit the wall, so I grabbed the chicken bars just before. But anyway, I went black, like it just went dark. And then I woke up and
Oh man.
my arm was out of my socket, and it's like it knocked me out for a few seconds, and then I woke up. Well, I don't even know how long I was knocked out, but I don't think it was knocked
Crazy.
out very long. Yeah, that was an insane accident, man. But that could have been I could have been dead. Maybe I flew right through the freaking window and I hit the cement wall,
Well,
so I blacked out, and I woke up
I
in a new
Yeah, I saw
reality.
myself on the stretcher for a split second on one of my accidents. I literally saw myself below me on the stretcher. So I don't know. Who knows what happened? Who knows
Yeah,
what
that's what I'm
happened?
saying. Maybe I died. I don't even know, and now I'm like, in the afterlife
yeah.
already. Yeah, like what what do you think of that? What if we're all already in the afterlife?
Or
No,
were they?
this thought has been explored, especially with like Patrick Roberts. Like he talked about this a lot. He's another Mandela affected guy. But like I mean, like right now we consume like water and eat food and stuff like this. So there are still like we're still convinced, quote unquote, that this reality does exist. That we have these bodies for what it is. And maybe you're right. Maybe we died and God is giving us a little more time to try to like it's like the dead people are the last ones who actually know that they're dead, kind of deal. You know what I mean? Maybe there's some kind of thing like that is happening. I don't really subscribe to that so much. I think this is real, and we have to treat it as real. This is like kind of given to us to experience this 3D whatever reality that we have found ourselves in. Right? This is the vehicle, and God doesn't make mistakes either. So if I'm here, I am meant to be here. Like if I am who I am, like in terms of like this body and these set of experiences, God did not make a mistake on that. If I think I don't belong here, that's my problem, not God's problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and it's,
have you
you're with your free will, you can decide. Do you want to change your gender, or you want to surrender your free will to a government or whatever,
Right.
a system. Yeah,
Your
and
sovereignty.
we're it's like a switch has been flipped on. We are in a supernatural time maybe we've never seen before, because the book of Revelations is playing out. The rest of it is. And so we're in a special time now where, like it says, we'll see sorcery and witchcraft, the pharmacy part of it and all that, So I mean, everything is playing out just like it's showing, says, and it's because they're going out of their way, like they did to put Israel back in place 70 some years ago, and God said that they would be a nation again for a generation, which is 70 years, and it said 80 if they're strong. And so 2028 is going to be 80 years, and they're going to get overtaken by their enemies, like the book says, and they're not going to be a nation anymore. That's huge. But before that happens, I believe they're going to rule with the Antichrist figure or whatever, and their Noahide laws. Just say no to the Noahide laws, because they're implementing them all worldwide. My state, Florida, has 2 of them already. And there's all kinds of anti-Christian, stuff going on in Israel right now, where, so I mean, it's just it is the book of Revelation playing out right in front of us, and I think that the climax is coming, and we just have to be on the right side of it till the end. We have to resist the beast system.
And Trump is a antichrist. There are 2 types of definition of an antichrist. One that denies Christ, those who deny Christ, and of course the one that is the antichrist.
Yeah, and they said there'll be many antichrists in this time that we're in. There'll be many of them. So yeah, that's what's going on. All the world leaders are basically antichrists now, because even if a good person got into politics, they don't last long in there, or
there's no way.
They're flipped or they're blackmailed, but yeah, I mean there's not, it's just not,
no chance in hell. And you think Putin or Trump is going to be on your side of things? I don't think so.
Yeah, they're bought and sold.
Kanye West is definitely one.
What's that?
The whole Kanye West, especially with what he's done recently with the push of the Hebrew Israelites. That's definitely like a false prophet vibe. Yep.
For sure, man. For sure. I mean, that dude is like heavily involved with a coven of Kardashians. I mean, that's those are witches. Like, without a doubt, those are witches. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, there's more witches running this world than most people, know. I mean, it's unbelievable how many sorcerers are running this world, and they're loyal to the beast system themselves, and nobody in the government has, good intentions. If they ever did, they certainly, just want to stay in power and control and enslave as many people as they can.
Well, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, like, it's not doom and gloom. We're not here to just doom and gloom everything. I mean, like, I think it's important for people to understand that, there is a way out, which is going to, involve each individual. We all have different paths that's going to be taken. That's going to be catered to us, but I don't think, it's all just like a QR code, we can create a different reality. I believe it. Just got to move towards it, have that intention in our hearts and in our minds, and it's going to happen.
Yep, conscious living every day.
Howdy, Dick.
For sure. Hey, Dick.
Yo, how's it going, guys?
Doing all right. It's 8:44 in the morning over here, and I didn't sleep at all. I just got involved in too many different chats, and then
you're hard at it. 8 in the morning, 8 in the Grand Rising. That's crazy.
Yeah, when it's not even midnight here yet.
Yeah, hey, interesting conversation you guys are having. I've been listening in, and I like these discussions, so I just figured I'd chime in.
Man. I crave these kind of the discussions, because we got to get somewhere beyond just the obvious. I mean, I want to better this world. Help better it.
I wonder with scripture, if it's not a script that they are also following, but also is planted in our subconscious at some level to get us to buy one of these Abrahamic religion doctrines. And that,
Yep.
I'm not saying this to challenge people or ruffle any feathers. I'm being transparent on what I question with Christianity and all this is it possible that we're supposed to circumvent the beast system, that we're supposed to untangle it and discombobulate it or retransmutate it into something better, and that if we wait for like the savior to come, that he never comes actually, and that's how they duped us, is instead of stepping into our power and saying, no, we have to transmutate this, we have to shape and carve this realm, we have to use, as the Christ said, that faith within us to actually solve the problems. And so I wonder sometimes, is the Christ, maybe like a false hope?
Well,
the way they present it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely shouldn't sit on our hands and wait for anybody to solve our problems when they're as big as they are. I mean, this world is basically hell on earth now, and the only way to change it is to get the only people left with, who give a damn and aren't already surrendered their free will over, their soul over, to call them out on their BS and demand they dissolve, stop.
Yeah, and I wonder if just a lot of people are not doing that.
Yeah.
Because they're in that kind of salvation mode where it's like, I got to wait for Christ to come set up the new kingdom. And it really wasn't even what Christ was commanding, right? I mean, even if you just take it from a Christian perspective, he was saying greater things will you do, and your faith can move mountains, and this mustard seed, if you're faithful with little, you'll be given much, and on and on and on. Don't bury the treasure. What do you have that's not a gift? And what do we do with the gift? We have to be honorable to it, good stewards of it, because it's not really, there's nothing we have that we didn't receive. I mean, I was talking to my kid about that today. Like, he was saying, something was his, and I was saying, when you think about it, you're just a steward of it. You're not going to have it for that long. It's just a vapor. That pocket knife that you love sharpening or whatever, you'll lose it one day, or you'll die and you won't have it anymore. It's just,
I've lost everything I've owned like three times already. Literally every single thing I own has, that I cherished, is gone. I've had to start over, and but the only thing that didn't was my Bible. I mean, I went through a flood, and I mean, lost everything, in the last 10 years. And that Bible that I've had since 1994, the same year I got red pilled about the New World Order and everything, is still with me, so I mean, I'm meant to see it and know that it is their script, but yeah, man, when you lose everything you own and start over, especially more than once, it humbles you and lets you realize that nothing is forever, except your soul and your free will, and we have to realize we're in a battle. Just because we don't have an M16 and a uniform on, these people are definitely trying to enslave our minds and control us and keep us down, keep us from realizing our full potential.
Yeah, because I believe if we all knew what our full potential was, that we wouldn't be in this situation right now. But then again, it does limit the quantity of people who are actually, aware of all of these things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why I say never go full NPC. So, somebody that's not a full NPC could definitely still be woken up, and that's what's going to happen if you believe it, that evil's not going to win in the end, one way or another. It's not going to win in the end, I don't think so. Somebody is going to rise up and and get this straight. It's either us or, whatever, a combination. But I mean,
what if that's how they do win, though? Because it is a script.
Mm-hmm.
What if that's how they win, is because they actually convinced us to put our power outside of us?
Mm-hmm.
Not that the Christ wasn't real, or what the Christ came to do was not legitimate, but that it was in him, and he was trying to show that it is also within us.
Yes.
And that because we're stuck in this, and I'm not saying anyone here, I'm just saying in general terms, that Christian doctrine idea, that we actually, that's how we're defeated, is because we put it in this avatar, this plastic Jesus, a graven image outside of us, that is not actually going to do what, the church or the modern church is saying. So then we get defeated because we really needed to rise up. We had to come together. We actually have to convince our brothers and sisters too. It's like, no, it's this Christ is within you. It's actually something you walk with.
Yeah.
I often wonder that is that how we're being defeated?
That's always been my biggest bone with Christianity, is it's a religion of pacifism, and it's functionally no different from nihilism.
Yeah, we cannot afford to just sit on our hand. I mean, maybe we can, but I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, we've got to try and make a difference. It's like it's ingrained in me for the last almost 30 years now, since I was told what's going on, what the plans were, to just make a difference, try to make a difference, or at least try to reach as many people that aren't NPCs as I can, and have to do. And, I love discussing all these things that are going on, but we definitely, I think, need to have some kind of a plan, even if it's just our own little plan, but even, better would be a plan of, everybody that, isn't an NPC could get on board with, one day of just saying, everybody just going on, what do you call it? Like on strike, and just saying, we're done with politics. We're done with the governments running the world the way they do. They need to dissolve. We're done with the churches that are misleading people or false altogether, which is probably 99% of churches are false or misleading. I've said that since the time I've got on here with everybody for years now. But yeah, I believe in the Creator, and I believe there was a Yeshua figure that, that definitely, is going to come back someday. But I think he's hoping that we will, get our shit together and defeat the people one way or another that are trying to enslave us. I mean, I don't understand how people are so programmed to not defend themselves. This is becoming a situation where you need to defend yourself and your future, unless you don't give a damn. But this is accelerated. This last decade or two, their agendas have accelerated to the point where they're out to get us. I mean, I know that sounds like we're living in fear, but we're not living in fear. We don't live in fear about it. But like I say, I kind of do fear for other people. I fear that good people who aren't seeing, don't have the eyes right now to see or the ears to hear, are going to be devoured by a system, that could easily be defeated without violence, if they're just called out on their bullshit by enough people,
Bomb drop. I got it.
Nice effect.
Yeah, it's a trip. I gotta think that on some level it comes down to personal accountability. But this is just in my own like surmising of what it is and could be. It's just it's a gut instinct that personal accountability. But I can't say that for certain that, you know, if this realm, if their goal is to take over this realm and to enslave us all in some kind of fractal state where we can't, it's like an eternity, right, of hell. You can't get out of it. Why? Because you consented to it, but now you don't even remember what you consented to. So how do you unconsent something that you don't remember you consented to? Meaning, metaversally, you end up going into this fucking chip or something, and you're living in an avatar, and that becomes your new identity and your new space. Eventually,
that's their plans. That's their plans. Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually, you forget what, quote, real life or the life you had was, and it doesn't even exist.
Because they'll tell you, well, you'll never forget what happened. Implant all that in, you know, we can blah blah blah. You know, I mean, they're oh god, they don't care what we think at this point. I mean, they are so balls to the wall, just determined to implement the one world order, which is one world currency, one world government, one world religion. You know, and they want to merge with machines. They just love it, and they want to manipulate. They want to change what God created, and you know, that's all they can do. You know, is manipulate or, you know, just try to destroy. And you know, I mean,
so I mean, Notch was saying earlier that there will be the line of demarcation, right? Is how he said it, and I liked the way he was kind of setting that up, that there will be this defining point where you either choose to take the mark or you don't. But what a great way to dupe a bunch of people if you present it that way with this book, and that's the authority, and they're all thinking, boy, there's going to be this line of demarcation. It's going to be a real line in the sand. I'm either going to take the chip or not. Meanwhile, you're passive aggressive, slowly being conditioned, programmed, propagandized, mind manipulated, reverse analyzed, data mined, hacked, and it's happening all in this gradual, like they say with the frog in the pot, right? They're turning the temperature up, and he doesn't even know. Maybe that's how the beast is being infiltrated into us. And part of how they duped us is said, hey, you'll have a choice. Actually, no, it's going to be this soft kind of gradual thing where you just wake up to it one day and you are in the beast.
Yeah, that's right. But you know, that's why you say, you know, you've got to keep yourself in line. You got to you know, resist that beast system till the end, and hope that you're able to, because it's you know, even says, you know, that it's not going to be easy, and that there won't be many that do, you know. So I mean, I want to try and, you know, ride this thing out and survive it in the end, you know. But I mean, you know, all I can do is my best. But I feel the urgency to, you know, try and you know, help as many people be on that level, you know, where they can at least see for themselves and, you know, understand the times we're living in. Because you know, it just feels like we're soaking in a hot tub right now to all these people, you know, and they don't realize that, you know, they're turning up the heat, you know. But yeah, man, we obviously care way more than most people, and I know I do, you know, and I don't want evil to win in the end, you know, even if I know it's not going to win over me personally, you know, it's not going to devour me. At least I'm going to, you know, operate that way. I believe that. But you know, it does hurt me to think that so many good people, family members, friends, children, whatever, you know, the world in general is going to be suckered and fooled by these entities, you know, and that's what's happening.
But are we deluded? Are we being suckered and fooled?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Well, we're not perfect, so yeah, on some level we are, of course.
Or by the fear of it.
Say that again, Flo. By the fear of it.
By the fear of it. Are we being suckered and fear and fooled by the fear of it? Right? Because if you look at what's pushed, promoted, there's fear porn everywhere. You know, get the coup. Oh no, the jab's going to cause this. You know, like just it's constant fear mongering. This is just another version of it.
Right. I see. What you're saying.
Yeah, but you know, still. They're making, see, the difference is they're going out of their way to make the script come true. See, now we can change the script, but we have to take action to do that. But
What
as
if we
far as
create the script based on our beliefs?
that's possible too. But look, we have a written script that these people who are in control. See, it ain't me and you and Dick and everybody else in charge that have good intentions. It's these people that are saying, "Oh, we got a script right here that these people already believe in, or a lot of them do. But we've got a script right here that we can make happen." And they are making each one of these modern day Bible prophecies come true. They're working towards a goal. And
Those prophecies are ambiguous and open to interpretation, and many of them haven't come true.
Which
I
ones
hear you,
have
Flow
come-
State. But even if that's not the case, let's go with that. Let's take it from this direction. What if the whole premise is, yeah, they're making the script come true, as Tommy's saying, but they don't have to make it all. They don't have to make the end come true where, quote, God wins, or we set up a kingdom of the Most High that's in harmony and balance, and it's 1,000 years of peace. They don't have to have that prophecy fulfill. If they're fulfilling part of the script, they can choose a la carte then and say, well, and that's how we get duped, because we believe it's all going to happen, but they're just choosing what they want to happen of the script.
Mhm. I
Just
mean,
an
that
idea.
might work, but they're definitely it seems like they're making it all happen, whether we believe in it or not. I mean, they were handed a script by somebody, and told to just make it happen, and they're doing it. I mean, look what they did with Israel. They made it possible for these group, even if they're fake Jews, to be for Israel to become a nation again in 1947, 48, sorry, made it official. And the script says that's going to continue on for 80 years if they're strong. They are strong, and so we're seeing that play out. So I think in 2028, we're going to see that we'll know if they're being overtaken by that time, like the script says, where they're not going to be a nation anymore, after 80 years. Then we'll know for sure that that's what's going on.
What if it's just a psyop, though? I mean, you ever consider they're magicians? It's illusions.
Yes,
Every rabbit hole I go far enough down, they all kind of end at, "Oh, that was fake. This is all bullshit."
I mean, it is a story. Regardless, it's a story that can be manipulated, can be changed. We see the Bible scriptures being changed. We can call it supernatural or call it, magical, whatever. So I mean, these people are in control, and you're right. They are able to flip the script or, change it or whatever. And the important part is for us to see through what they're doing and remain in with our soul intact and our free will intact, because they appear to be coming after as many people as they can devour. I mean, you see this happening. Eugenics is in play. These people, want to keep you sick or dead if you don't agree with their way, and it is playing out. I don't know. I don't live in fear of them, or I wouldn't be talking about them as much as I do, and hoping for their demise. I've been targeted by the government because I stood up and even if Alex Jones wasn't talking truth, I went on his show and I told the truth about the swine flu, and I got targeted for that, but I would still do it again to this day because I'm sure I reached a few people and I told the truth about their plans, for the swine flu, which was exactly what their plans were for this thing that's going on, been going on. And, they had
If
people.
they were all powerful, though, more people would have taken the thing, and monkeypox would have taken off.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
why did this
shit,
one take off and have so much success? It's
did it?
They're all experiments. They're all what do you call those? Like drills that just they become real, if they have success, I guess. And they've been trying it over and over with Zika and all those things that they say are so deadly that never really, turn out to be deadly. But yeah, they're in control because whatever they say is the boogeyman, most people are going to fear and say, okay,
why would they be drills though? Why wouldn't they just be failures?
Well, they are failures. Most of them have been failures. I don't know if you can call this last one a failure because it's still, people are still going and getting the V's, and the boosters and everything. But yeah, all the others were definitely failures. But they still, help them learn how to, make better weapons against us.
Everybody learns.
Yep. But the NPCs just continue to go with the flow and do whatever they're programmed to do. We don't. Oh, la mole.
Yeah.
Where do we go? What do we do? Where do we go? What do we do? Do we just worry about ourselves and just, just make sure that we are okay? Or do we keep having these big boy conversations and trying to reach as many people as we can and do make a difference? I mean, there's just no way, even if there is Jesus and he has a plan to save us all, it just doesn't make sense that he would want us to do nothing and just let these people have their way forever. No, right. It can't be that way.
Christian is to follow Christ, right? So if we're going to follow him, one of the things he did was be that rebel spirit where he's like, you're a den of vipers, you fucking bitches. I'm going to turn these tables over. Right. I'm going to call all you fucking coward hypocrites out, you synagogue of Satan bitches in the fucking praying and fasting to try to look holy. You don't know God, that's not what God's about. It's not some vanity thing where you're presenting yourself as all ornate and holy. And so I love that message of the Christ. That shit speaks to me because I feel that same rebel spirit in me, and I don't want to get.
You don't have the desire to be evil. I mean, you could be evil. Any of us could choose to be evil, or do things that appear to be evil, or whatever. But I mean, people say there's no good and evil, or whatever. I don't like that because. That's the line in the sand, is that we draw a line in the sand that we don't want to enslave and control people like they do. We don't want to abuse and, kill people. I mean, there's, I've said it before, there's, 2 or 3 different kinds of people in this world. And there's ones like us, and there's people that, want to enslave people like us. And,
well, I'm in that group.
Yeah. Well,
that's my group.
That you want to enslave and control other people, or
yeah. As soon as possible.
Yeah.
Well, you can start your own cult anytime you want.
I tried. Turns out it's too people-y. Like, people need too much attention.
They need too much convincing.
You always put it on your. You could always put it on your Christmas list there, Flow State.
At the end of the day, what I really wanted was just like a handful of women to follow me around and do what I wanted. I didn't want the whole cult. Carry on, though. And
it's like, no comment.
Well, it doesn't apply to you, OTW. Not most days.
It's been a cool
stream, it's you can try to run from the beast and say, well, it's about me and I'm just going to try to take care of myself and set up my own little paradise or whatever within this hell. But I don't think that works out because it permeates through and you're still going to participate when you run down to Home Depot to get whatever it is, or Lowe's, and fucking paying your fiat tax, and you probably got your license and your registration and your insurance and all your papers, and then the cop pulls you over and you got to sit here and play his ass clown gong show game. And it's almost like the Christ message was he gave it all up. just sold it all, give it to the poor. Follow me. I got no place to lay my head tonight. I'm a sojourner traveling through, a vapor here today, gone tomorrow. And if you want to follow me, take up your cross, because this is a painful, long, hard journey. And the end of it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's kind of what, if you're going to follow him. And who really does it with any kind of authenticity and sincerity? I'm not saying that Christians aren't authentic, but I'm saying to really embody that and say, no, I'm going to forsake it all. And how am I going to eat tonight? Who knows? That I'm like a bird, right? The Most High will provide. So I'm just going to go face the elements, go back to nature. And if I get eaten by a bear or die in the process, maybe the only people who get out are the ones like that guy who went up to Alaska and just said, fuck it, I'm going to go live with the bears. And when they eat me, I'm done, because he at least tried to forsake it all. And I'm not saying he's the example to follow, but you get what I'm saying, that it's like, if you're going to follow the Christ, man, that's an extreme example he set. That's hardcore. You're muted. But he forsook everything, right?
Yeah, I agree with you, Dick.
Yeah, you're still muted, Tommy. I don't know what's going on there. That's strange.
Okay, how about now?
Yep, there you are.
Yeah. All right, I hit the mute button on the microphone. It's right there on that top, and then I seen it flash, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Damn, and I forgot what I was going to say now.
Well, I was talking about, the Son of Man has no place to lay his head, so take up your cross and follow me. Sell everything you have, give it to the poor, and
yeah, I think the word and the people that identify as Christians have been perverted, and so we're not. If we claim to be a Christian, we're not the Christian that we should be, and that's sad, but that's how far this thing goes, is that they've manipulated and tried to destroy, good in everything, so I mean, if there was a real Christianity, and I mean, I guess there was when he was alive, and people were following him then, but after that, they just changed much of the stories they wanted, and I mean, they've made people, good people, believe that it's okay to just sit on your hands and let evil, do what it wants, I mean, without standing up against it,
Quite the psyop.
Yeah. Yeah, evil prospers when good men do nothing, right?
The only thing you need to do is nothing. Just have a belief in your head. That's it. Sounds like a trap to me.
Yeah, but then even doing something, what is the thing to do? It's like.
Well, that's a whole different question. That's way down the line. Like, that doesn't even come into play, not nearly at all, until you decide that, like, oh, maybe I should do something.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think a lot of what we have to do is actually in the mind. It's about how we utilize the gifts the Most High gave us. And I think a lot of it is hidden knowledge, occultist type knowledge that they made evil, but really it's just knowledge. It's just unveiling what's in us. So we have to know ourselves. We have to figure out.
I think it's morality.
Hey, and you know what? Somebody said this, Aleister Crowley, the other day. They said, what I was saying sounded like do as thou wilt. And then I said, well, no, do as thou wilt would be no consideration of consequence. And they said, well, no, that's not the case. You don't know what do as thou wilt is. So then I looked it up and I realized, yeah, I am actually incorrect. It's
taken out of context.
Yeah, it's more referring to do the best thing based off of what you know. It's like what's available to you. And not that Aleister Crowley sounds like a great guy to me. I mean, I've read some things on his history, and he sounds like a pretty perverted, out there kind of.
You mean Barbara Bush's dad?
Is that who that is?